Welcome to Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 143. We're back.
Wow.
We're back, people. Yeah.
I don't think they know we were gone, but it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Every time it's been a while, that damn Incubus song pops up.
Incubus?
I was never an Incubus
Incubus.
fan. Isn't
You
that
mean
Incubus?
Incubus?
Isn't that
Incubus.
Stained?
No, it's Incubus, but isn't it?
Why are you
Oh.
saying Incubus weird? It's like I'm not sure if it's Incubus, but I know who Incubus is. But it sounds like he's saying Incubus.
He's saying,
No.
you know what he's saying? He's not putting the, instead of saying Incubus, he's saying Incubus.
Oh,
Without the-
Incubus.
Incubus. Didn't I say
Q.
Incubus?
There you go. That sounds
Okay.
normal now. There
But
you
you
Maybe
go.
said Incubus.
Maybe I just said it fast. You know
Sound
me.
Sound like you were saying Kid Incubus.
I don't
It's
even
been
know
a
who.
while since it's Stained. I don't care what you say.
It's
You
not.
can't
No,
say-
Stained?
it's Incubus.
I'm going to look it up right now.
It's got to be.
I think Dave might be right
been a
because I don't know
Oh, wait.
Stained, but when he said Stained, like I
You
know
might- You actually might
it sounds
be right.
familiar. It sounds like it's Stained.
Either way, those bands.
Stained.
They-
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
They got a lot of play, and they got a huge fan base. But they were kind of like poser rock and poser metal.
Speaking of Stained, how's your underwear
Incubus or
doing?
Stained?
Both.
They were just a band at the time in the 90s that were just putting out stuff that had guitars in it. That's the way I looked at it. I mean, it wasn't like, it wasn't grunge and it wasn't heavy metal and it wasn't, I don't know. It was just like regular alternative music to me at that time.
It's been a while since I heard the Incubus version.
I gotta.
It's
You
very-
know me. You know
You
me.
know
I
it.
don't even know who
Yourself.
I'm podcasting with. Honestly, you expecting like proper English from me? I've been calling you D and B for so long. I feel like I've been podcasting with Duncan and Bo. This is how it is. Like, what are you questioning? Like how I say shit. This is not should be a
Dave,
surprise.
you're gonna have to talk with a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this podcast, absolutely. I want to talk about the wee girls and the wee boys. Yeah.
The wee
Whatever.
girls.
Yeah.
I love the
Maybe you shouldn't talk with the accent.
Yes, but we're doing a brand new summer series, and it's going to be having
No
many
talking about the
ghettos.
summer series on the. We
Many
do
ghettos.
not talk about the summer series on this show. I'm
D&D
anti-summer
come
series.
correct.
Because every time this time of year, a couple months ago to this time of year, all the chats are the summer series. I got to prep for the summer series. I go, fuck you and fuck the summer series. I have nothing against Duncan or anything else, but it lights up my damn feed all the time, and I'm like, oh, what's this now? The summer series.
I try to get you guys in. You guys don't want to budge.
Nope.
It just seems like so much work.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to what 22 Shots do with the 1970 show and the other show, by the way, which we're going to be on the 1970 show.
Are we allowed to say that yet?
Yes, we the fuck are. Of course we are.
Well, that was another thing too. The fact
They
that we're
announced
doing
it
that
already.
show. Yeah, the fact that we're doing that show, like that's prep. 2021's prep. So I just figured, like,
Yeah, but
if
that's
I
in
was
fall.
doing that and summer series, I know, but like Mood said he wants to do it like September fall, like the minute like fall happens, because he says like October on gets really busy for him. So if we do it in September, you know, at the end of
I guess it
September,
is still summer, so the summer sausage series on 22 Shots. That's what,
1970 summer series.
Did you say Summer Sausage Series?
yeah. Gotta change it up.
Those things?
Yeah.
What, summer
You ever see those
sausages?
things? Summer sausage, they have them in like grocery stores sometimes, packaged. You know what I'm talking about? No?
No.
You don't know what a summer sausage is?
Yeah.
I never ate one. Hold up now. Don't laugh at me because I never
Hold
ate
up
one.
now.
I just think it's funny. I used to see them, and I used to take pictures of them because they reminded me of my dog, Pepita, because I used to tease her, see she was shaped like a sausage, and she had the body of like a summer sausage. Anyway, summer sausage is something that
She
you
had
see
a
as-
body of a summer sausage. I dated
she
a girl like that
does.
once.
All I picture for Pepita is it marked ones?
Yeah.
Marked horns.
With the
Huh?
dog
Marked
on the ceiling.
Pepita,
Oh,
Pepita on the ceiling. When we did that, what would poor Pepita do?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, Pepita. R.I.P.
That girl.
R.I.P.
Yep, that girl. What the hell were
R.I.P.
we talking
Pepita. We were talking about a lot of things. We're talking about your butthole, which I think I can't believe the heat But what did I say? I can believe the heat.
Yeah, I believe the heat. I'm just glad to know that I'm not the only one who thinks you're a complete and utter psychopath.
Here, I gotta play this from Chris, aka Scott.
Oh,
I gotta play it.
I got the message from Chris.
Okay, so I'm listening to the new Exploding Heads episode now. Dave just told the story about his wife using all the toilet paper, and he takes the fucking cardboard spool and shoves it between his ass cheeks and waddles over to the closet or whatever the fuck and gets more toilet paper out. He's getting in the fucking shower. You take a shit, you get in the shower, you wash your asshole. Fucking wife.
I mean, the passion in that message alone is amazing. There's two more, but I'll let you I'll let you retort.
Two more different people?
No. Two more of him still bamboozled over the idea, or just boggled. Boggled, I guess, is more appropriate. Look at him shaking his head.
Everybody's missing the point. It isn't the fact whether or not I'm going to take a shower afterwards. I'm still going to do that, and the reason being, I said it on the show. What if something falls out and hits the floor? I don't want a piece of shit on my floor that I have to clean. So isn't it easier to put that there just in case your asshole is muddy? You know what I mean? Just not have it up there just in case if it is. And if it is, guess what? All you got to do is take that piece of cardboard and put it in the garbage, and no one's any
That's
wiser.
what I want to know. That you still have to take that muddy cardboard piece out and pop it into a garbage.
I had that covered. Believe me, it's just like if you have you ever shit your underwear and you didn't want anyone to know about it? It's the same type of thing.
I've got a whole story about that. If you
want
to go there,
because I shit myself maybe 3 times since I've been with my wife, and it's embarrassing. I mean, it's my wife; she's not going to judge me, but it happens.
But 3 times? That's a lot.
I've been with her 9 years. God, I've been with her 9 years.
Oh, every 3 years. That's
unreasonable.
That's
I'm
not
just
bad.
saying. So, and I got a fucked up stomach. Don't get me wrong. The wrong move can fucking set shit off at any time. So anyway, if that does happen, I cover it. It's like a cat covering up its fucking turds with kitty litter or whatever's around. I have to get that thing. I got to put it in a garbage bag. And what I would do was, now granted, look at it this way. I'm about to take a shower. So if I happen to pull that thing out and I see some mud on it, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in the garbage can that's in my bathroom. I'm immediately going to seal. I'm going to tie that garbage bag, you know what I mean? I'm going to take my shower, I'm going to finish, and I'm going to very coolly, when I get out of the shower, walk downstairs with that garbage bag, because it's garbage day anyway, it's Sunday. I'm going to throw it in the trash, in the kitchen.
Someone had to say it.
Just like with dog bags. If you pick up your dog shit, same thing. And then I'm going to put it in this bag. Then I'm going to put that bigger bag into the fucking, the garbage container that's going to go out Sunday night. So no one's going to be any wiser.
How many more bags into bags are you going to do before the garbage men actually come?
I'm not picking up from this fucking shithole. Wow. I want to know what the difference is by taking a muddy piece of cardboard out of your ass versus like a possibility of a little bit of like a little Hershey Kiss on the tile on the bathroom floor that you have to pick up with like
on the bathroom floor?
On the bathroom floor.
On the bathroom floor.
Mascara.
I was listening to Incubus on the bathroom floor.
Did I say it like that?
You so did. That's why I was unaware because you totally said the bathroom floor.
What's some fucking Englishman over here? You're on the bathroom floor. Amazing.
In the loo. In the loo. If I was English, it would be the loo.
In the loo. Oh, Lordy. That's what I don't get. I mean, why would you chance it? Why not put some... Now, check it. Ordinarily, you put toilet paper up there if you had to. Obviously, I'm out of toilet paper. What's the next best thing? Nothing. There is nothing around that.
No, nothing is the next best thing. Not the cardboard roll.
Yeah, but you call it cardboard, and yeah, it's soft cardboard, though. It's not like I'm taking a fucking serrated piece of fucking, off a box and shoving it in my asshole. And
like a pizza box.
I'd be less disturbed if you used Lucky than I am by the fact that you...
Then I gotta clean my cat. There's no... Even if I want to...
Oh, they clean themselves.
Yeah.
That part of the body.
I don't want to get into a whole discussion about it again.
No,
It's just
I don't-
it obviously caused an uproar, if you will, because people are just baffled.
They are bad. But what do they do when they run out? I'd like to know.
I don't know. I gotta play part 2 of this because I said I gotta play at least. I don't remember what part 2 was because I laughed at the first one, but he had 3 of these, and I swear I wish I was there with him in person when he recorded these things. Because
Part two is Sackhead, Chris.
Perfect. They're a good segue in.
He said he's scared something might fall out. What the fuck? Is his asshole the fucking, like, gaping open the size of fucking Audrey 2's mouth from Little Shop of Horrors? And there's just, like, fucking chunks of shit and innards falling everywhere?
Innards.
Well, hold on. I don't know. It's like I said, I'm not going to find out the hard way. I don't know what's going to happen. But there's a reason we wipe our ass. There's a reason since we've been birthed. Our parents taught us to make sure you wipe your ass and make sure it's clean. Because what other reason would
Back
be
to front.
if you don't do it, it's going to fall out. You don't want shit on your body and on the floor. So I don't know. No one I don't think I was raised any differently than anybody else in that department. I didn't have any obsessive parents about it, but there's a reason we wipe our ass. So if we can't wipe our ass, we have to do something in lieu of it. So, I mean, in the interim, I got to put something there. In the loo. Yes. Just to cover my ass. Literally and figuratively.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, I don't know if it's going to fall out. How about everybody's got, okay, Chris, why don't you take a shit today and don't wipe your ass at all and just get up and then tell me what happens? Why don't you be the guinea pig? How's that?
I think he was just baffled that, like, I think he said, and I think we all agree that you may be the only person in the history of the world to do this.
What do you guys do?
I will waddle over to I told you last show. I either walk over or shuffle over because my pants are like locking my ankles up over to the little closet, grab a new roll.
Same thing. And if I'm confident, I'll even pull my underwear back up and walk over.
Yeah.
But I will stay over the seat for an extra minute, make sure everything's pinched off, and then, but I get what Chris is saying with worrying about being gaping. I've never thought about that. Like, I have complete control of my butthole. Like, I know, like, if something's hanging or if it's messy and there's a chance something's going to fall out, then then it's a shower right away.
Well, yeah.
You ever keep wiping and it just gets messier the more you like, it's time for a shower.
You're wondering what the hell's going on. I mean, I'm going through a bucket and a half of toilet paper here every shit. It's crazy. I can't, like, I've clogged the toilet with, I'm like, what the hell's going on? I shouldn't be clogging the toilet every shit I take. Every shit
you take. We both sing.
Yeah. Every move I make.
Every bowel movement I make.
Every brown outtake. We're spiraling down again. I don't want to make this about shit talk, but you baffled people. We had to talk about it again.
It's over. I don't know what to tell you guys.
You blamed the wife. You blame the wife, but you, like, again, if you're going to take a fucking mud shit, like, and then you see that there's no toilet paper, shouldn't you have checked to see if there's toilet paper first?
Mud
shit. Rewind that. Say that again, please.
You blamed your wife for wrenching you because she used all the toilet paper. But before you sit your ass down on that seat, knowing that you're going to blow your ass, did you see and check to see if there was a roll of toilet paper there?
Blow your ass.
I was more concerned about. No, you know why? Because I keep the Fangoria on top of my my. I have like this thing that goes around my toilet on top. It's like a cupboard thing, and I keep the Fangoria on top. So whichever one I'm currently reading. So I get in the ring. I get in the
use
bathroom.
the previous issue to
Yeah.
clean this up.
Damn it! He beat me to it. I was like, issue 6 was right there for the taking. The one with like C-3PO and R2-D2 on the cover. That's not Fangoria. Don't try to kid me that that's Fangoria. Toilet paper.
Believe it or not, that was one of the very best issues of Fangoria. With all the contents inside. Very,
Believe
very
it or not, it's just a show of songs.
I'm a very clean person. I can't feel dirty like that. You know what I mean? It bothers me to feel like even now. I didn't take a shower before the show, and it doesn't usually happen. It's a long story, but I actually let my daughter take the shower instead of me. I said, you take the shower, honey. It's okay. She didn't wrench me.
We brought this up on the show before.
No, I'm just saying. I took my time because we were having a later start today, so I took the opportunity to sleep in a little bit, and I did. I was going to get in the shower, and I was waiting for a response from you guys if I had the time. It didn't come right away, so I said, why chance it? My daughter wanted to take a shower. I said, you take it. I just won't. So now I didn't take a shower. I don't like the feeling, but I mean, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not obsessed about being clean. I'm not like sick about it, but I do like to feel clean. Despite somebody sent me a text, a really, really nasty text yesterday morning that I woke up to. And of all the insults it gave me, the one that bothered me the most was it was an insinuation about me being scummy. Or I forgot what it was, but they said all these other terrible things, right?
What?
Nothing.
Is this like a personal thing or like a part of the show?
No, it's not part of it. No, it's a personal thing. I got this text out of nowhere yesterday. I woke up yesterday morning to a text sent from the 601 area code. Okay?
From
it was
Irene?
a person I No, she's more pissed about it than I am. But I got this text from the 601 area code, and I've only known one person in my life that's ever talked to me that way. And that's my first wife. And it's been there's been no communication for a couple years from any of us to her. And I get this really freaking nasty text. It was sent at 2 a.m. on Friday night. And I woke up, I was already asleep. And I woke up, yesterday morning to this long fucking text full of all these crazy insults, man. Like crazy shit. And of all the things they said, it actually didn't bother. It made me feel good because everything that I'll tell you why. Everything that this person said
was true.
None of it was true.
No,
so I was like, yeah, she, as usual, was completely wrong. Should I read it? Oh,
no, I don't. I feel, don't do it. But the fact that she insinuated that you were dirty is what bothered you. That's the funniest part.
Of all the insults, because it completely came out of nowhere. And of all the things that
maybe
said,
she listened to the last episode. She heard the toilet paper story. And that's why she had to write this. She was listening to it at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's like,
I was married to this guy?
Well, she doesn't listen because she thinks I'm not married anymore. That's the funny part. That was her big diatribe in the first two sentences about how, I knew you couldn't keep a companion, all this fucking crazy talk. And, this is what I came up with. My wife has had her phone number changed over the course of the last few years because we had all kinds of issues with relatives of hers. So she had a 702 area code like I did, Vegas. And she recently, over the last year or so, got it changed to 716. So the only thing we can think of is that maybe she tried to get a hold of my wife and sent her a text or called the old number, the old 702, because apparently other friends of Irene's have said that they tried to contact that number and the people got sick of it and started saying fucked up shit to her or to them. You know what I mean? So they prank them kind of. So I think that's the guess. She thinks that I'm completely single and everything else, and I'm this and that, and I have thinning hair, I'm fat, I'm this and that, ugly, yada yada yada, and all the insults that were said.
Did she mention the dick?
Are the only ones that she didn't mention my dick. She did not say anything about it. Yeah. It just said, this is the thing: gross and ugly, fat, stupid, thinning hair, bad built, short, scummy, scuzzy, scumbag of a man-child. That was the fucking the only thing that bothers me at all.
Pinned, pegged, whatever the hell, pinned, pegged, the whole 9 yards. That's crazy, scummy. You're like Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back. Nerve herder. No, what was he? Scruffy. Yeah.
Right, I am like Han Solo. That's the only thing that bothers me. Well, none of the other stuff is true. I said, I weigh 150 pounds. How am I fat? My hair's down to my shoulders. Sure, I have a little baldy spot in the back, but I mean, I'm not gross. I said, maybe I'm ugly. I go, it's not for me.
I'm not gross.
Yeah.
I picture him at 2:00 in the morning. I'm not gross.
Oh.
I'm not scummy and slimy. Wait a second, and then he has to pull the little cardboard paper out of his ass.
Oh. But it's so weird. I didn't hear anything from this woman for years, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a text sent to me just a fucking 4-paragraph diatribe about what a terrible person I am, and I'm like, okay. And now, it has to be from her. No one else would speak to me that way ever. No one else ever had, but that was regular for her. All that woman did for years was cut me down constantly and say all these fucked up shit, So, wow. Oh God, yeah. But yeah, that's what bothered me. I'm not dirty, so I'm into cleanliness. I'm not obsessive, but So yeah, that shit thing, and I don't want to clean. Whatever. Let's move past it.
I don't want to
I don't want to unnecessary. I'd rather clean my ass than the floor. What can I tell you? I don't know. Speaking of shit, now this has nothing to do with shit, like actual fecal matter. I've been seeing this word come up lately. This is a new thing that's going to my list of modern phrases that I don't get. I've been hearing this on podcasts. I've seen it written a couple times. Have you ever heard people use the term shit disturber?
It's old school. It's an old school term.
No, shit starter is old.
Shit starter, shit stirrer.
Yes.
Shit
yeah. Disturber is the new thing.
Shit disturber.
I've been hearing
pretty
it
sure.
for years.
I don't know if I've heard it, but it didn't feel off-putting when you said it.
You know what?
Because I immediately thought of shit starter or shit stir.
Right.
No, I think we've used shit disturber in Canada. Maybe you guys are just getting behind the times there in the States.
But it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. How can you disturb shit? Starting shit is one thing. This guy's over here starting shit. He's the one setting it off. He's starting, he's starting shit. He's starting drama. This person over here is stirring the pot. That's what that. But shit disturber doesn't make any fucking sense as a term. If shit's already there, how are you how can you disturb it?
You're a shit disturber if you walk in while Dave is inserting a paper tube up his butthole. What a shit disturber!
That's what that tube's called.
Actually, I believe we're going to call it a mud flap from now on.
A mud flap.
A human mud flap.
A human mud flap.
Directed by Tom Six.
Nice. Oh boy. So anyway, yeah, shit disturber. It's added to my list. What a ridiculous.
I got lucky. I got lucky. Hey!
That's sweet. He kidnapped him back. He was the original owner. It wasn't. He owned that farm.
Yeah. I'm burning the 3 tires outside as we speak.
Burning tires. Oh my gosh! And I got to put you guys on blast. Well, Christian specifically.
Okay, good. I was like,
not you. His name is not Sasha Cohn-Baron or whatever the hell it's called. It's Sacha. Sacha. If you would have pronounced it correct, we never would have had that fallout. There still is no male Sashas. Sasha. You made me feel like such a prick, such a fucking dummy. And then this guy put this thing on the page. I think, who the hell was that?
It was Alex, but I think it's still Sasha. No?
Alex.
Sacha?
Was it Alex?
Sacha?
Okay.
I always hear pronounced Sasha.
So do I.
But see, everyone's fucking it up. There you go. It's Sacha. Sacha. People said it right. That whole thing never would have happened. So I'm still in the clear. There are no male Sashas. I mean, unless it's like, some foreign thing that I don't know where. To this day, I've not met a male that was named Sasha, including Sacha Banks or whatever the hell is Cohen, whatever it is.
Sacha Banks Cohen.
Well, Sasha Banks is a wrestler, a female, of course.
Oh, Sasha.
Sasha is a male name in Eastern Europe as well as female, as it serves as a nickname for both Alexander and
Alexandra.
Alexandra. Sorry, it just I was like, what is it saying here? Sorry, I had to go into the thing. It cut off because I was on Google. But
His name is Sacha. It's not Sasha. At least we
Yeah.
got that information.
Yeah, it
I've
sounds
never
like
heard it
it's
pronounced
funny.
Sacha.
Yeah, I
You've
never heard it.
watched the fucking
Maybe
movie.
it
You've
is
watched-
that, but I mean,
You've
it's spelled
watched
like
the
that.
movie? Really? Well, didn't you see it on the screen? Borat, and then the credits roll, Sacha Banks, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah,
You know,
but whenever anyone introduces him, whenever they interview him, whenever they talk to him, everyone always says Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And maybe it is, and maybe he's corrected them before, but
I corrected her. Yes. Let me see. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna write in pronunciation and see.
I'm pretty
Pronunciation.
sure Sacha Baron Cohen's favorite band is Incubus.
Isn't it pronunciation?
Pronunciation. Yes. Okay, hold on. Let's see what this says.
Being a dick.
Baron Cohen.
Oh, so this person says Sasha too, but it says American pronunciation.
Maybe that's what it is.
Well, what are
Sacha
you?
Baron Cohen.
I know, but I mean they might have it wrong. Let's try it British.
Yeah, try Christian's accent, British. In the
Sacha
in the
Baron Cohen.
Did you hear that? Hold on, listen to that.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Cohen.
Owen. That's the Canadian one. Wow.
Cohen.
Holy fuck.
Oh, there's a whole video on it on YouTube, 42 seconds long. How to pronounce
Earn-free crypto.
Sacha Baron Cohen. See, at least other people, they've come across, the controversy here. Oh, Ali G. Hold on.
We are looking at how to pronounce the name of this English actor, comedian, writer, and producer known for his creation and portrayal of fictional satirical characters, including, of course, Ali G. Borat. How do you go about pronouncing his name? Sacha Baron Cohen.
Wrong.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
No,
Here are videos on how to pronounce more celebrity names whose pronunciations
See?
aren't
It's-
exactly always.
It's pronounced exactly like that. Sasha.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Okay.
I've never heard somebody say Sacha Baron Cohen.
That's like the Lamont configuration.
Yes.
The Lamont configuration with Baron. Baron von Munchausen.
My favorite Baron.
He's a fictional character, right?
Who?
Yeah. Baron
Okay.
Munchausen.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait, what about Munchausen syndrome? Does that have something to do with that or no?
That's only by proxy.
Okay. So maybe I'm wrong. I can admit it. If his name really is pronounced Sasha, then again, I apologize. I saw it written down. I'm like, wait a minute. This is
I
Sasha.
accept. I accept.
We accept your apology. Now, will you apologize to Chris for the mud flaps? The human mud flaps?
We never mentioned it, because I think we did a couple of shows, but he had upped his Patreon to 666, which I thought was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Everybody do it. 666 on the Patreon.
Everybody do it.
Yes. We're just going to double it. We'll make Nightmare on Film Street money. Because they have the same amount of people that we have. They just asked for 6 instead of 3. So it's the same thing.
666.
Which, by the way, you see, they got canceled by Bloody Disgusting, or was it Bloody? Yeah, Bloody Disgusting.
I saw some shit because of the whole drama behind it.
Well, yeah, but check
Drama.
What?
What do you guys
Remember-
prefer in the States? Jesus.
Drama, not drama.
it. Drama,
Anything,
like
anything?
banana
Drama Rama?
Yes. Oh, Drama Rama or Drama Rama.
Just visiting the zoo. I just decided to pick up a totally obscure Drama Rama song.
Drama Rama.
Anyway, let's go. What was they got canceled? Perfect.
Well,
Fuck 'em.
check. There's a reason why. I mean, we know the first reason. We know what happened with Fifth Street. But remember when I said that they were harassing another, or they had harassed another show called Nightmare on Fierce Street as well? Well, I didn't realize that they were basically doing it at the exact same time. I thought this was a more spaced out thing. First they did it to Fierce.
It was like a
and then
Saw
they did-
4 to Saw 3 type thing.
Yeah.
It happened concurrently.
These arguments are running concurrently. Holy shit.
Yes. It was running concurrently.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
They jumped all over these people at once. Boom, boom, boom. And so the person from Fierce decided to write an article about it. And because they wrote the article about it, they shared it to somebody on Bloody Disgusting on their Twitter. One thing led to another. Now all kinds of people know about it, and then they came out with some apology, and people are mad at the apology. You know, but the whole thing was out of control, and they got all kinds of hatred because I guess one of the hosts of Fear Street is a African American female, so she looked at it as attacking, a person of color, and the ladies on Fifth Street are Latina. So, granted, I don't know if these people knew that when they were doing it, because I couldn't tell when I looked at the Fear Street picture that, you know what I mean. But still, that was a platform that they used to a degree, and it spread like wildfire because you know how that stuff goes on social media. So, yeah, they got canceled. They're out of there, Film Street. So.
Cancel culture.
Yeah. Well, not canceled.
In a way, I'm like, yeah, good, fuck them. And in a way, I'm like, because I hate that. I hate that, like, social media. But I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're an asshole, or if you do assholey things, it will catch up to you. That's how I take out. That's what I'll take away from it. And the only other thing I can think of is we're fucked if shit hits the fan for us, because we don't have a leg to stand on. Someone better come out of the closet to help to save our trio if we ever get like.
Dave said
he'd suck a dick.
Yeah.
Well, I would suck a dick. That's for money. Yeah, I mean that's been documented. But I mean, enough.
How about to save the show? You'll suck a dick to save the show. I command you to.
If I had to suck a dick one time to keep the show going to show 500, I would. How about that?
The show.
That's how much I love you guys and love the show and love everything and the plans we have. And I would one time. Believe me, I'm not going to make a habit of it. But if somebody said, okay, you got to suck this dick.
You never know. You never know.
Doesn't make me gay.
I'm sending
Never
you a
thought
lifetime
I'd have
supply
it.
of mud flaps.
What?
I'm sending them a lifetime supply of mud flaps for your birthday.
Can we brand those exploding heads? Exploding assholes? Mud flaps. Trademark.
Hey, man. All the stuff we say, and we have all different type of listeners. You know what I mean? So it doesn't. See, it's like Dave Parker said in that show. We use it as a punchline.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's the difference between saying it a different way or just saying it like Jeremy says it. Even though Jeremy just says it as joking, someone from the outside listening would not know that. Oh, something. Oh, that guy's a retard. You know what I mean? We know that's just what he's doing. But I mean, we don't say that. We might make a joke where the punchline is somebody at the end as well. You know what I mean? Like a joke about anything. I mean,
it's hard to believe that the character Jeremy plays is less likable than the real Jeremy.
That's true, right? Yeah, it should be the opposite. It should be the best parts of your personality, you would think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although, I do say things on this show that I would never say in public. So...
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's more like, let loose and be the real you, which is what it is without, that's honestly what it is. Just us being us at the end of the day. So Christian has left us. He doesn't want to hear about the real us. He's like, well, fuck that. I think he went to go get another kitty. I don't know.
I think he went to change his mud flap.
No, my cat was the reason my cat was being so affectionate and rubbing up against me every 2 seconds here because I realized I shut the basement door. So he was stuck down here, and he wanted to go upstairs to see the rest of the family. So they let me upstairs, please. Freedom.
Poor guy. Yeah. Freedom. Nice. So anyway, that's that. How about that Jason Smith thing? The thing that he said about that video and the subject that's been coming up, and I happen to be mentioning it on that on basically his video.
What, his proposal?
No, I don't know about a proposal. What did he propose?
Marriage.
Marriage. What else did he propose?
To me. We're very happy.
Oh, it could have been a business thing. It could have been, his proposal. The way I don't know. Fuck. Now, okay. He told me he was going to marry this girl. Like, he told me this like a few months ago, like shortly after they started this whirlwind romance. So that's fucking awesome. Wow. Well, congratulations, because I don't think I formally told him that at all, because I didn't know. So
yeah.
When did this happen?
That was Well, I don't know what you're talking about. It was all over his feed for like a week. He went to
I
the
don't
Myers
get
house. They went to see other things. He proposed in front of the Myers house. She said no. He's crying in his hands. It
put on
was
a
a
Michael-
horrible thing. Michael came in and get the fuck out of here, man. I got people to scare. No,
They have
she
video of
said
him
yes.
crying behind the hedge.
Yeah. No, she said yes, and they're living happily ever after.
Wow. Okay, well, you say his feed. This is what I've given. I mean, it does suck. It sucks for me sometimes because, like, for example, just the other day, Irene is back on Facebook, but she goes back and forth. But when she's on it, she's full on. She looks at the feed. I mean, she doesn't belong to groups anyway. What does she care? But she's the one that tells me things. Like the other day, she said, "Oh, it's the 13th. It's Jamie and Brian's anniversary." I'm like, "Oh, cool, thank you." So I sent a text at like fucking, I don't know, 9:00 at night because I didn't know. Even though I talked to Jamie 3-4 times a week, and I know that she was married on a Friday the 13th, and I thought I remember the date. Apparently, I did not. But
did you know they're back in podcasting again?
Yeah,
Yes, have you listened?
They came out of retirement.
I'm on
House.
the yeah.
You don't know. You know. You're being.
Yeah,
You know about this. Obviously, you're.
I know about everything. What do you want? What do you want to say?
Yeah. No, nothing. I was making a joke because
Oh.
you seem like you don't know what's going on, but obviously you know that.
You see-
But we can
That
talk
I
about
know.
that after. I'm derailing you.
They
I'm
were-
derailing you.
No, you're fine. They were gonna go straight Patreon. Initially, we had a discussion about it. They were, Jamie and I like, do you think we should do what you guys did? And I'm like, yes. The more shows that do this, the better. And she wants to be able to say whatever she wants to say and not worry. Well, not just her, and not worry about the backlash. And that's one of the reasons they left. And you guys do what you do on the show, and it's great because of it. But you guys can say whatever you want.
Generally,
Anyway,
people suck. Generally, people suck. That's why we've got the listeners we've got. And of course, I'm not saying you're the only good people out there in the world, but you're amongst the best. And not just because you're smart, but you get it. Where I'm going with it is, like, there are people, like, when you're out there doing it for a mass audience, people can misinterpret, and then this is where you get the whole cancel culture thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's frustrating because I don't want to deal with it on a day to fucking day basis. I just want to do the shit and enjoy it, and have people enjoy it, and talk about mud flaps for an hour.
But but there you go, back to the feed thing. That's why I don't know about what's being canceled. The only reason I know about this, this Film Street thing is because I had a vested interest in the story, what was going down, so I knew. But when things are canceled, I don't know about them. When newsworthy things, all this stuff happens, I don't want to know about it. I don't want to hear about people's politics and this and that. So I don't go. I don't look at the feed. So the price I pay is that I miss good moments like that, like Jason, getting engaged and being able to say congratulations and look at these pictures. So I mean, 10% of the stuff that's out there, I wish I could see that's on the feed, but it's not worth having to deal with all the 90% of the garbage. So I don't look. I go right to groups. That's all I do on Facebook. It's very minimal, and that's what I do. I talk.
But you're saying so because I got you off on this tangent, but you were going somewhere
news?
about Jason and his feed that it's not married. It has nothing to do with that. It's about something else, and I need to know because I'm dying over here.
No. That's a big lead up to nothing now. Not nothing. I mean, but now that it's been built up to you guys hanging on it, you guys already know about it. That video that he put out, because I happened to be discussing it. I mentioned it on the last time we did a podcast. I mentioned that I was stopping at issue 158 on Fangoria because that's when Scream came in, and I think that horror was at its worst from 97 to 99, as opposed to the story about Scream saving the genre.
Wow,
and he put out a video. Right, that's what I'm saying. But it was a cool video that he put out, and it explained everything in detail about, because he had the same thing. Like, everybody likes to say that Scream saved the horror genre. He goes, look at this. He goes, it might have been good for... Anyway, just watch his video. But I mean, I mentioned it on our show, and he put out a video a couple days later before our show was released, and it keeps coming up. And I just thought that it was cool that somebody took the time to put something
you
up.
could edit this out, right?
Yeah, I'm not even recording right now.
I was just giving the dude props on the video because it was cool.
But if you look at the comments there, because I commented on that too, and someone hit it right on the head, and it essentially, I think, saved is weird because you're right. Really, we got some modern day slashers that some people and that's about it. But I think financially,
Yeah.
it made horror seem like a viable option again. And I think
Yes.
maybe if the first one didn't, because it built over time. By the time the second one came out and kind of repeated the same success, I think that's what kind of got people looking at horror again in a different way. And maybe we didn't see it immediately, but when you think about what we got like at the tail end of 99 into 2000, I think that's what people we've got to focus on.
The box office numbers are drastically higher post Scream than they were the previous
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years.
Absolutely.
to it.
And that's the
And I
point
think
that Jason made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was box office, yes, but as far as material, as far as what we watched, like look at it. Like, we were talking about the 22 shots, and now we're going to be on 1970. And they were having a discussion on that very show because they're always, anticipating what's going to be the next drawing for the next year. And they're like, we don't want 94, we don't want 97. And they're talking about these years, and they've been having discussions about it. And look at 97, 98, and 99 and try to find like 10 really good horror movies.
Yeah,
and
but
it was really the most dreadful time.
the influence that maybe who knows, like this is where I'm going, like there's been the argument, like let's take it to music for a second. If there was no Zeppelin, what bands would we have not been privy to? And it's always weird in my head. I'm like, oh, no, they still would. Yeah, I want to whack you with your own fucking arm fist thing. We got to get to that too. That whole story about him being in a black bandage or whatever.
We got into a fight, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
See the other guy.
His father kicked his ass, I think. He fucking grabbed it and he.
But
Michael Myers got him in the bathroom. Remember him in fucking Rob Zombie's Halloween?
he tried to propose to his dad in the washroom, and Michael Myers.
No, I was changing my dad's mud flap when he got me.
Man, but so what if there was no Scream? I understand Scream really is just repackaged slasher, and I'm not saying Scream is a Zeppelin of fucking horror. Please do not mistake it. I'm just using Zeppelin as an idea of an influence, an influential band that had amazing albums that most definitely inspired legions of musicians thereafter,
including the Legion Network.
So Scream, on maybe on a smaller note, at a time when we were desperately in need of some sort of hot beef injection in horror, came and and actually made going to the movies and seeing a horror film with a group of people maybe fun again. Now you could argue that because you had the mainstream people in there with you, and some people don't like that, but I had a blast, and it was a great theater experience, and having people universally scream at the screen and share that moment with you. And you said,
I agree.
And I'm not saying, so then at that point, maybe we didn't see a huge surplus in horror films right away. But within a few years, we got the ones that were like, Stir of Echoes, The Sixth Sense, Blair Witch, finishing the decade and leading into the 2000s.
Yeah.
And in 2000,
True.
like right away, 2000 had so many more horror films that were that came about. So, in a sense, maybe it wasn't an immediate reaction, which you probably saw from Halloween to and Friday the 13th. But I think and what followed thereafter. But I think there was definitely a response to that.
I agree with that. I do. I'm not disagreeing. I just, just looking at those films of that time period, to me, I'll always look at it as a low period. And I did have fun going out to see H2O and some other things. It was nice to see slashers make the comeback. Even though they weren't my type of slashers, they were still a dying, basically a dead part of the genre that I grew up on that I loved. So when Scream came back, and that's what I was saying, I loved it. I was like, oh, finally a great slasher again. And then the ones that followed, I'm not mad at them. I mean, it was nice to go to the theater and see some of them. It was fine, but
I think that the reality is maybe because they were a little bit more slick and polished. That's what I liked. I'm like, holy shit, they're putting backlighting and production value to this subgenre that I love. Maybe they weren't as gory or as nasty as the old ones used to be, but I still have fun with Urban Legend. I still have fun with Valentine, and to a degree with I Know What You Did Last Summer. pretty much even Urban Legend Final Cut was a blast. I had fun with that. I actually might prefer that to the first one. But I'm just saying, there was fun to be had with those little knockoffs as well. Although it didn't seem to thrive as much as obviously the 80s. We only got like a handful of them. But I think it led to what we ended up getting. And then you get your Final Destination series, the Saw series, and everything coming on the tails of that. Faculty was in the 90s, but I'm talking about what followed in the 2000s and the early 2000s. So
Valentine was 2000, right?
Yeah, 99 or 2000. I think you might be right with that.
True. Again, I think it's safe to say that it was afterwards. It was no different than it was before. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that. I mean, if I look at them films, 97, 99 compared to 92, 93, 94, I'll take the earlier part of the decade over the later part, but I don't think it did anything as far as it didn't elevate, and it didn't necessarily, hurt it bad or anything like that. It was just another thing that happened. It was a bump in the road. It was a high watermark, and it influenced some things after, but a lot of people like to say, Scream saved the genre. Especially, obviously, the people that are going to say it are going to be people from that generation that grew up on it and everything else. And I think it's there's a lot of people in that age bracket that are on social media that are loud and proud about it. And that's good on them. That's fine. It's their thing.
I've always been someone who's sort of said that because I felt like we were kind of in the lulls. Mm-hmm. Up until that point, and then all of a sudden, it was like you guys said, it was exciting again to go to the movie theaters. Not saying the quality of the films was that much better, but they were doing well. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Faculty, Valentine, those types of things. But it was just something. It was just like a new life because all the franchises were really reaching their low points at this point.
Yeah, if we didn't have that, would we have gotten Final Destination and American Psycho? Maybe, but maybe not. Yeah. And then would we have gotten the Saw series? Maybe, maybe not. We don't. That's where I'm going with it. You'll never fully know. But if you're looking for immediate satisfaction in 97, because remember, Scream was released at the tail end of 96. If you're looking for immediate satisfaction of genre releases in 97, no, because the success of Scream didn't happen until it grew. So over the December and January time period, then suddenly they knew they had something and they were, greenlighting the sequel and everything like that. But I still think it was fresh, and maybe people thought it was a fluke. So then you look at the fact that then the success was repeated at the tail end of 97 with Scream 2. Then I think people are like, oh, wait a second here. We're on to something. So I think it did help with the momentum of pushing forward to what we ended up getting. And we always talk about 2010 to 2019. And I'm not going to take anything away from that because that was a fantastic decade. And as we've said on the show, rivals possibly the best, if not the best, in decade. And again, a lot of people will argue 70s and 80s. And we could go in circles about that argument. But even the 2000s, from 2000 to 2009, there was a lot of great things that happened there. Whether you like the Saw series or the Final Destination series or not, we had those two franchises. We had a ton of remakes. Again, whether you like them or not, we had those as well. But there was a lot of great things too, like the 28 Days Later, the reboot, Shaun of the Dead, the rebirth of zombie movies, and everything like that. Like the 2000s were great, but I think it gets often overlooked because of 2010 to 2019.
Just like the 70s and the 80s. To me, the 2000s are just like the 70s were. Not as good, but I mean, I know some people disagree. Mood specifically. I know he disagrees because we were discussing it now on the
70s fan. Yeah.
Right. And I always say that the 70s had really high benchmarks, really great movies, some of the best horror movies ever made, but it didn't have the depth that the 80s and the 2010s has, as far as if you look at everything from pick any year and you'll look at it and you'll be able to go like 20 to 30 movies deep of movies that you would rate like a 7 or higher or whatever, just really quality film. I don't think we have that depth in the 70s in that way. I think it's the same thing in the 2000s. In the 2000s, we had some really great films coming out that were pretty solid, but it didn't seem that it had the depth that the 2010s had. We had more of it in the 2010s.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it is. It's a similar thing. It took time.
There's still a charm, though, to the 70s. There's such a charm, though, to the 70s. Because they were genuinely, everybody was genuinely trying to make a good film. with like no money. So that's what I love. I really love about the 70s. It's become a favorite decade of mine just simply because sometimes you watch a movie and be like, who made this? Where did this come from? It's like,
Well,
it's
think of
not
the heavy
good,
hitters.
but there's a charm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there's
but
the
a
charm
charm.
ones, and then there's the one like even like the Phantasm, like there are some heavy fucking hitters in the
Yeah.
70s. So when you look at the master list, you're like, well, fuck, a lot of the classics are from that time frame. My favorite, one of my favorite, Dawn of the Dead, Halloween, Phantasm, Alien, Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas. I mean, I haven't even touched like Argento or anything else. Like, there's so many fucking great movies but I think what happened was the 80s, we got greats, and then we got a lot of content because of the business and everything that happened in the 70s. I think everybody's like, well, now I can make a movie. And I think the 80s, it just became mass marketed so that you're
Franchises, man. That's
franchises, but then like, and I'm not even talking about the subgenre of slasher where everybody and their fucking uncle were making them, but I'm just saying that like what ended up happening. Oh, you have a zombie. Look at '85. You had a zombie movie that was successful. Well, now we're gonna have like 4 or 5 that come out the same year. You know, you don't have just one Dawn of the Dead. You've got Day of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Reanimator, and I know I'm forgetting one right now. That boom, right in that same fucking year. Like, it was just sheer volume of content. And of course, Once Bitten. Who could forget Once Fucking Bitten?
You leave Once Bitten alone.
Yeah.
Once Bitten. She was hot, whoever she was.
Oh, I loved her.
Yeah, mama. Yeah.
Whoever she was.
I forget who she was.
I couldn't tell you her name. I couldn't tell you her character name or her real name, but she was very attractive.
She was something else in every way. Yeah, man. So,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That's why I think the 90s get shit on, except for like, you know, people that, I mean, the Schroers are the 2 brothers that I always go back to. And I'm not shitting on them, but I know they have nostalgia for that because they grew up with it like we did the 80s and whatever. However, I would say that when you take those 5 decades, the 90s is no question at the bottom of the list. And 70s, 80s,
I agree with
2000s,
that.
and
I'm
2010s.
a 90s kid. I can't call myself an 80s kid. I mean, I started watching horror movies religiously in the late 80s when I was like 9. And 1985 was, for some reason, is the year that are all the first films I've seen. Fright Night, House, Troll, Return of the Living Dead, Friday 5, Teen Wolf, Once Bitten. Wow. Like, these are all the movies that were on a loop in my house. For some reason, I guess those were the ones that were playing on TV, I guess, in the late 80s from 1985. So that's like my year. But I grew up in the 90s. I turned 10 in 1990. So I'm a 90s kid, but...
Right.
You know, but I don't remember much from that early half. I remember everything Scream and post-Scream, but I remember, like, what? Child's Play, the Child's Play sequels, and Candyman. But I didn't deep dive into the early to mid-90s stuff until much later on.
It's weird. I can see you being completely... If you're 16 years old when Scream comes out, that's a comparison to like me not discovering, but like in 1983 when I discovered Friday the 13th as a franchise and part 3 came on HBO. You know, granted I was 11 years old. It's not the same as 16. Yeah. But by the time I got to 16, I was so balls deep into horror because of the time period, Fangoria, everything coming out, VHS rentals, everything. You know, you would think that you being 16 years old at that impressionable age in 1996 when Scream drops, that you would be 100%. Have nothing but great feelings and nostalgia for that time period and everything that's going on. But in fact, you don't really necessarily have that.
I don't know. I don't. But like Christian says, I did enjoy that time frame, going to the movie theater, seeing those subsequent films, butterfly effect, stuff like that. But like, I don't know. I think my deep love for it didn't start probably until my 20s. Like after college is when I really got back into it. Because
social media opened your eyes to things that you forgot about, found people that were also big fans, and you got turned on to all this other horror that you may not have known of before.
Oh, I never knew anything about Italian horror, Asian horror, and in my early and mid 20s, that's what I was exploring and discovering Argento, discovering Fulci, discovering all the Asian horror films, and that's when I was just like, I'm hooked. I want to see everything.
Right.
I was 16 in 1990, and my fascination came from kind of what David's mentioned. We've talked about on the show, just being petrified of fucking horror movies, And it's like almost like
Nah.
like friending your enemy, if you will. Like I was like, I gotta conquer this fear, so I'm going to absorb everything I can horror wise, and that started early. But I mean, like probably 87, 88 is when I started really trying to get more into horror. But that's why I wasn't going to the theater to see a lot of them. I saw Halloween 4, I saw Nightmare 4, in that 88 range. So 87's where it started. 88 is where I was able to start watching some of these in the theater because of the rating system here in Canada, and then sneaking into the ones that were rated R. And then I think 90, there's a lot of nostalgia. I just posted about this earlier when in our group chat was talking about, like, there's a huge nostalgia for the music of the 90s because it's a great decade for music.
Always.
And
it's the best.
Because of the theater experience in the 90s, I absorbed. If I could go see a horror film in the theater, I went and saw a horror film in the theater. And yeah, some of them I'm like, oh, that was good. Some of them that was passable. Oh, that was shit. I saw Texas Chainsaw 4 in the theater. People say that didn't come to the theater. I'm like, hey, yes, it did, because I saw it. And I wanted to walk out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I mean, it was the one movie I was really wanted to walk out of, and they did. Sorry, but the. So I saw all that shit there. So there's a nostalgia for going to see all those movies, but retrospectively, I say, no, I have such a love because of video and renting them of 70s and 80s, much more. And I have no theatrical experience from, like I said, 88 on from a horror standpoint. Went to the theater tons. As a kid growing up, because I was a movie buff. But I mean, I'm saying from a horror standpoint, it was 88 when I saw the first batch of horror films in the theater. And that's probably why I have such a high love for both Halloween 4 and Nightmare 4, because of going to see them at the theater.
I can see that. I saw them as well. So I'm with you, because I saw everything. For me, it was a little bit earlier. I think it was like, the first one I saw, like I said, it was Friday Final Chapter with my father. Yeah. He had to take me. I was 12, 11, whatever the hell it was. And then he took me to see part 5. But I don't think I was going with all of my friends. I think I probably would have been like 14 and higher when we're going alone to see those movies. And rated R, you just get in, you find, So any movie that came to the theater at that time, of course, we knew about it months in advance. I mean, which is nothing to say these days because of the internet, but I mean, because of Fangoria. We see articles, this movie's coming out in later on this year by the horror master, this director, this guy's in it. So we would know about it, but every horror movie that came out, I would say from like 86 on, we were there. You know what I mean? Every single one, and by the time the 90s came around, I had been soured on it. I went to college in 92 and everything. I was doing it, but I was getting to other things, and the horror got to me, in my opinion. It got so poor that by the time, mid 90s, I was just not going anymore. Only thing I was going to see was like a franchise film that I didn't see Texas Chainsaw 4. I was done with it after. I didn't care. But like I still saw Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell, and
I saw Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I absorbed them all. That's what I like.
I did not see
Popcorn, Leprechaun. I saw them all.
I saw Popcorn. I think it was still early with 91, but I mean, I didn't see, what do you call it? I didn't see Halloween 6. I think I've probably told the story before when we did the retro. I just, after Halloween 4 and 5, when 6 came out in the time period, I didn't even go to the movies to see Halloween 6. I was just like, eh. And then I went to Walden Books one day at the mall, because that's what I would do once a month. I would, buy a Fangoria. I would even flip through them. By that time, I wasn't even buying them anymore. But I would still go in and dip my toes in horror for a few minutes and, check out what's going on in horror. So I would read Fangoria, and I can't wait to get to that one issue. Well, I am going to get to it. I'm going to remember the first time I ever saw it, where I opened it up for the letters. It's probably pretty close, but all the letters from the people were just bashing the hell out of Curse of Michael Myers. I mean, they were unmerciful on it. And I remember seeing, like, well, I'm never going to see that movie. And I didn't even see that movie until like the year 2000, because I was working at Hollywood Video and I was getting free rentals. I'm like, you know what? What the hell? I'll give this movie a try. It's a free rental. I'll go home and watch it. I remember watching it and going, wow, I like this movie. I like the gore, this and that. But anyway,
I should have seen it 20 years ago when it came out.
It was only 5
But
years later.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm
Fuck
thinking
that
now?
joke.
It takes time. It's like you said, for movies to have an effect, it takes like 2 to 3 years. This is why now in 2021, I can't tell you how many times I go on Plex to watch a movie that's just been released this year, and I look it up and it says 2017 on IMDb. That's what we're getting now. And this, I think I said this to B in the chat.
You
I'm
did,
like,
yeah.
the reason movies are shitty now is because these are movies that may have not have gotten released before. That's why 2021 is kind of in the toilet, because their movies were not filmed the last year or so. So there's only so much they can put out. So they're releasing stuff that was sitting, on the back burner. Okay, let's put this one out. So keep that in mind. If you see a movie from 2017 that you'd never heard of before, it isn't like The Witch where it was a festival darling for a couple years, or Devil's Candy. We knew about these movies. If all of a sudden, the astronaut's wife comes up or some shit, well, I think that really is a movie. Right? Whatever. Some random okay, the Manitou from Mars comes up, right? And fucking it says 2017. It's probably going to be a shitball. I mean, you've never heard of it. And it's from that. That's what's going on.
You might need a mud flap if it's that much of a shitball.
Shudder confuses me too sometimes, because they'll have a date on it, and I'm like, well, it says 2020 somewhere else, 2021 on their service, and then sometimes they release them after, and I'm like, well, did this have a wide release? Like, they have a bunch of them that were released. Like, It Cuts Deep. Was that last year? Because I've read that
it was
November.
Available to rent last year.
Yeah. Okay. So. But
knew.
there's a lot of those ones. Well, it just seems to be added to Shudder recently.
Yeah, it was
came
added
out
to
last
Shudder.
year. Yeah.
It was added to Shudder this year, but it was available if you wanted to rent it and see it live last year.
Yeah.
So it counts.
It counts for last year.
Unquote, last year.
Yeah.
Probably not good anyway, because I don't know.
Well, you know what? A lot of people shit on it. A lot of people shit on it. I actually didn't mind it.
I heard some decent things from a few
shocked.
people.
I was shocked because I saw some of people's letterbox thing. Because I'm going through the Shudder ones. I'm like, okay, what's short? So that I could get through it and be happy with it and whatever. And I've been blowing through all of them. The only one I haven't watched, the most recent edition, was Neil Marshall's 2021. I was saving that because that just got released.
The Reckoning?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's good or not, but I haven't watched it yet. But anyway, so I saw this was on. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And I saw people's response. Well, it only got 3 skulls out of 5, and typically on Shudder, most of them are at 4 or 5. And when it's a 3 skull one, usually it's on the shittier side of things.
Skulls.
Typically, this is just like IMDb for the Shudder crew.
I know.
For the Shudder crew. But then I also saw people's letterbox reaction, and when you've got like a Mark Nato giving it only 2.5, then you're like, because he typically marks high, and I think Moods gave it half a star. I'm like, well, this is going to be a turd. I liked it. I'm not saying it's great, like a 7 out of 10, 6.5, 7 out of 10. I don't really even think I graded it, but I liked it. It's a lot of talking heads. I thought it could have been, but I thought the acting was decent. It made me laugh.
A lot of talking heads.
Burning down the house.
Our house. So the gore is minimal. It's mostly. But I liked the interplay between the characters, and there were some funny lines in the movie that made me laugh, and my daughter came and go, what the hell are you watching? I go, I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. And she watched it. We both started laughing at certain lines. Not like, it wasn't like unintentional laughter. It was just good delivery on some good lines. So overall, I enjoyed the movie.
Wow.
Like,
I would not watch
my
it
list?
based on
Nope.
my way. No. But still, it's not terrible. But based on the way I do things, I looked on the B, it said 4.2. Half of the freaking reviews I read were a 1 or a 2. It would be a skip for me. Granted, only 300 or 400 people have weighed in, so it's not a complete accurate representation. But normally the way I do things, I would skip it just with that information. But it's a Christmas
budget.
No?
Yeah, well, I mean, it takes place at Christmas time, but I mean, it doesn't really need to be watched at Christmas. But that's the thing, like, there's a switch for me when it comes to low budget movies. If I can't take the acting, people are like, oh, come on. Like I said, it's all your perception. Friday the 13th has been destroyed for its bad acting. I have no problem with the acting in Friday the 13th, 1 or 2, at all. But people hate it. And this is another one. Like, I'm like, I like the acting in it. Actually, one of the movies tonight we're going to be reviewing today, Betty Loves You. I read reviews saying they hated the acting. The acting, I'm like, what?
Really?
The acting is perfect in this movie. Maybe they don't get tongue in cheek. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say something. You can finish. I'm sorry.
No,
didn't-
I just said, but
No,
so the
you
thing
can't
that
finish.
continued with It Cuts Deep. I didn't find a problem with the acting overall. It's a low budget movie. I thought they did a good job with it. It's not going to change the world. It 6.57, but I enjoyed it.
Are you getting royalties for this fucking film?
No.
As much as you're plugging it?
I am not. Hey, Brendan, It Cuts Deep there. That's what you just said.
I'm gonna check it out. I heard, like, not from many people, but from a few people, that it was enjoyable. So
Scott
That's it.
doesn't count. Scott doesn't count. He's like another Mark Nato. I love him, but nobody ranks higher than Scott and Mark Nato. I'm
Scott,
jealous of them. I'm jealous of them. I'm not knocking them because I wish I liked everything I watched, or 90% of it. That's great. That's a great mind state. Wouldn't you rather go through life loving almost everything you saw? Absolutely. So I'm not knocking them, but I don't use their ratings. They're kind of discounted because I know how they are. They like everything. You know what I mean? So I don't, so I assume you're talking, Scott's one of the guys.
I only watch Scott's recommendations if he gives it a 17 out of 10 or higher. I even tell him, no, Scott's a big teddy. It was Heather
I love him.
who liked It Cuts Deep.
I
But
didn't even know
Heather's,
that.
Heather's,
That's great, yeah.
Heather's a much fairer grader. Scott admits that he just, like, pretty much enjoys mostly everything.
We haven't seen eye to eye on
Great.
everything, Heather and I, but I didn't even know she liked that one. And yeah, that's great. Maybe I subconsciously, because they do that big round, like almost like what we were doing with round robin reviews, where they'll talk about a bunch of movies, and maybe that was in there. But I was shocked because again,
How
I
did
just
that
popped
go
it
away?
on.
Why did that go away? When did we stop doing that? Where we just
Because
Nobody wants to watch
Patreon
too many movies. That's why, because we watch
Nope.
too many movies.
I've watched, but I could actually have done it this week because I watched a shit ton. I watched Shook. Now that one, no.
If we have time, we'll do it. We can do it in break. We won't do Fangoria because I know you guys probably want to break from it. So we'll do that if we have time in between.
Yeah, I
movies,
didn't really
you know?
prepare, but Shook was not. Like, I've done it already because I talked about It Cuts Deep, and Shook opened up with a really random kill, and then the movie kind of sets up okay, and then I don't know what happened. It just falls the fuck apart, and then it ends
Shook's
horribly.
a mess. Shook's
Yeah.
a mess.
Wait, is it the old movie Shook? Or
No,
it's a new one?
no. Shudder.
Yeah, Shudder,
Oh, is it?
and then there was another one that I was going, fuck this movie, and then I actually kind of got into it a little bit, and it blew it at the end again, and that was the Let's Scare Julie, or something like that. I was like, what is going on? It's one was one continuous take. I try to give credit where credit's due, or at least seemingly, and I was like, again, low
Dude, that
budget,
made my bottom 5 last year, and the only reason it made my bottom 5,
the ending.
the ending was so bad. It's like they didn't have a budget. It's like they didn't have a budget to shoot what they wanted to shoot.
Oh, it was. I agree, man. Like, here you are. Like, I'm like, okay, this didn't start the best, but I'm going to give it credit because of the one take, and I was digging the factor, saying, let's try something here, and I like that aspect of it. Then I found that the girls were okay, a little annoying, but okay. And then once you got, like, there's a lot of talking at the beginning about nothing really. I mean, they wedge in some stuff that supposedly helps set up the rest of the thing, but it's really kind of boring. And then it gets a little creepy, and then falls the fuck apart. So I agree.
It's like they wanted to make a ghost story about the house across the street, but you never see the house across the street.
Oh,
they just talk about it.
Well, they go in.
It's
No,
like
they go
House
into it.
House.
No, they do go into it, but they don't. It all just, and then it just ends. So the movie just, unfortunately, completely
Yeah, I
just
think
falls.
somebody
apart.
falls through the stairs and then it ends. Somebody disappears. It's very strange. I saw it. It made a top 10 list though last year. It made. I'm not shaming her because I'm a fan of hers. She's a listener. She's a Patreon. She's a supporter. But Jill, it made Jill's top 10 or top 15 list.
What's it called again?
Let's Scare Julie.
Let's Scare Julie. It's got the one with the. It's one of the covers because there's another cover of a slasher where there's like a like a neon glow mask.
Yeah,
of what looks like a killer.
It's like stealing the Purge cover.
Yeah, but there was another slasher that came out, I think, called I forgot the name. I honestly forgot the name.
Hyde came out this year. Has similar cover, I think. Oh, the school shooting one, the last one, or something.
I don't know. I'll have to look. But anyway, let's scare Julie. Let's scare Jessica to death. Let's scare Julie. Again, opening not strong. I was about to give up on it, but I was there because of the style of filmmaking. That's I think why maybe that's what Jill loved about it too. So they attempted to do the one take fucker, and
I saw
I'll give
potential
it
in
that,
it,
man.
but from what they gave us, it was just like
Yeah.
you should have waited to make this film, because some of the actors in it, some of the girls in there, I thought are good actors. In fact, one of the lead girls is the one from Run, Hide, Fight, which is getting a lot of praise this year.
The dude, and there's another girl that's in a sitcom that my son watched at one point. It was like a 2-season sitcom called Allie and something or other. It's on like the Disney Channel or one of those shows. Allie and Alexa or something like that, or it's on Netflix or
Kate and Allie?
something. Oh. No, not Kate and Allie. That was it had. I felt like it had some potential there, but that ending is bonkers. It's so bad. It's almost the equivalent of like that ending where that movie that you went to the theater and it just ended and it told you to go to the internet to find out what happened. What was that?
Oh,
Delivers from
Last
Evil,
Exorcism? Not
one
Last
of those,
Exorcism.
Delivers from Evil, wasn't it? Or
No, close though. It's one of the. It's
Don't Deliver Us from Evil?
The Devil's Due.
The Devil's Due. No, wait, not even the Devil's Due.
The Devil's Doo-Doo.
They're close though. We're in that area. It's
Devil's
a
Run
found
Flap?
footage. It's a found footage movie about devilish stuff. Damn it. Oh well, it'll come to me, I guess. I don't know. Shit.
Anyway,
I don't know.
So
Anyway.
it just ends. The movie just ends. You're like, what? Huh? Who said what now? Yeah. Anyway,
I don't think I
Those are my
watched anything
railroads.
new except for the podcast. I think I'm just to the point where I'm watching so many different things. I'm watching a lot of shows, and I'm watching just other stuff that isn't horror related. Believe it or not, I'm bouncing around. But like, let's see, what did I watch? Wrong Turn, Banishing, Held, The Power, Benny Loves You. I gotta put this one in. The other one we're covering. But
Why are people hating on Wrong Turn?
I don't know. But
I
I
just
like
watched it. I watched it last night, man, and I liked it. Now that's
I
a
like it
remake.
too.
There's a remake. They took the idea of the original and just went their own route.
It's a lot of fun, and I think it's got great kills and great gore in it. I think it's a terrific little film. I think it's one of the better films of 2021.
It's the way I have it ranked. Yeah, it'd be in my top 10 right now, probably. Like number
Maybe
10.
Matthew Modine added a level of credibility, but that scene, without spoiling anything, the tree tumbling down sequence.
Yeah, and what's his name criticized the tree in our chat? Warren. He was like, that tree. I think he kind of criticized it as being awful. I thought that scene was gorgeous.
Yeah, I thought it was.
forgot all
And
about
again, I was actually very happy. And someone else mentioned it was way too long for its own good. Maybe.
So is
But-
Junior.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. Again, I don't know where I would rank it yet, but it was enjoyable.
I finally saw the original version of The Vanishing, the French-Dutch version, Spoorloos.
Oh yeah.
No.
You
I
guys
watched
ever
that way
seen the
back
film?
when. Yeah, way back when.
I don't think I saw the second Vanishing.
The Vanishing.
Kiefer
It was
Sutherland,
it's very The remake was Kiefer Sutherland, Jeff Bridges, Sandra Bullock.
Never
And
spy. I probably
Shot
wouldn't
for
watch
shot.
it.
Was it a shot for shot one? I can't remember.
It wasn't. It was not a shot for shot, but it was very similar to Funny Games in that it was the same director. And I like the remake. I really like the remake. The original does have a different ending, and the original I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I
Is it
finally
like
got
a
around.
thriller from the 90s or something?
It's probably listed more as a thriller from '88.
It's not
Dutch.
black and white, is it?
No,
No, I for whatever reason I had in my head it was black and white. I don't know why.
It is absolutely. I finally got around to seeing it, and it's absolutely fantastic. It has a Criterion release, and man, I was just like blown away by it. I thought it was really quite shocking and disturbing. And the remake, very good as well. I've always liked it, but the original definitely the better of the two.
Wow. Nice.
Oh,
I watched a bunch of shit. Go ahead, B. I'm sorry.
I've just been watching 2021s like crazy. But besides the two for tonight, Jacob's Wife and Benny Loves You, saw a film called Bloodthirsty. It tried to be a little bit too much like Raw from a few years ago, but nowhere near as good. Satyr, which was on.
Did you agree with me on that?
Satyr, honestly, I'm going for an endoscopy in a few weeks, and I spoke to my anesthesiologist, and I told him that the only thing he needs to do is put Satyr on, and I'll
okay.
be right.
Thank you. I feel
it's the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Wow, Joe wanted us to do it badly.
No, and again, because I saw some high praise for it. 4 out of 5, this and the other thing. I put it on, and I'm like,
maybe 4 out of 10.
It had the soundtrack was good. The sound design and soundtrack, I'll give it credit for. But man, oh man, I agree, Brandon. What a snooze fest!
I'm still intrigued.
The Hagazusa or whatever of 2021.
I can't say that I liked Hagazusa. I think I gave that like a 7 or a 7.5. I actually enjoyed that.
Still...
But this one, I 4.5 probably.
So let me ask you: is the complaint? There's nothing that makes sense in the narrative? Is that what it's? So is it that way like Hagazusa? Like nothing makes sense narratively? Is that what the problem is?
There's not much of a narrative here.
No. It's like one of those open.
It's one of these it's weird, let's just put creepy images on here, but nothing's even that creepy. It's just so slow.
Admittedly, I fell asleep to it. I actually had to rewind. I fell asleep and I think a scary sound woke me up. I'm like, oh shit. And I had to rewind.
There, Dave. It has a scary sound in it. It woke Christian up.
I'm still intrigued. And people have told me that this is one movie above all this year that 2 or 3 people have messaged me and said, I think you'd like this movie. So people are thinking it's my style of movie. So I'm still, and like even John Colhorn, he talked about it on our Patreon, and he said, because we talked about him on the last show. He said, thanks for the shout out. Glad to be able to listen to the show again. It took a while back. I mentioned the movie Satyr to y'all. Looks like it's going to be a hitting Shudder. And I told him, I'm going to watch it. Christian saw it and didn't like it. He said, it's this year's Hagazusa. I told him that. And he said, it's not going to be for everyone, but I was fascinated by it. The story behind the film is interesting too. Anyway, I'm just, man.
I'd rather see a film about the story behind the film.
Yeah, I agree. I might have to give it another try, but man, oh man.
I will not be giving it another try. In fact, I hope the story behind the film is like another Saw film.
I'm still intrigued by it.
Man.
I'm still.
I watched a ton of. When did we record last? It was a while ago.
I have my list.
6 years ago.
A ton of movies.
I know exactly what I watched since then because it says Monday, April 26th, People Under the Stairs. So everything I'm going to say right now has been since then. If anything intrigues you guys, I'll say something about it. But it's a lot of stuff that here's what I had. This is how fucking eclectic I've been. Okay, Mortal Kombat, Grease 2, Neon Demon, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, 28 Weeks Later, Tales from the Hood, Creepshow 2, the new Star Wars, what do you call it? I watched Force Awakens, Last Jedi. I watched the whole thing of them, all 3 of them. Rise of Skywalker. I watched Animal House, Blue Velvet for the first time ever, Creature from the Black Lagoon, first time ever, Knives Out, first time, a movie called Little, Hereditary, and these movies, and Spiral yesterday. That's what I've watched. So it's been.
What'd you think of Spiral?
I liked Spiral. I liked it more than the last 2 movies. I'll tell you that much.
Nice.
Not much more. Fuck it. I'll spoil it. 7 out of 10. That's what I gave Spiral. It's
That's
fine.
good. I like hearing that.
It's fine. I liked what they did because it's the perfect title for it, or whatever you want to say, is that From the Book of Saw. What I liked about it is that it tributed the Saw franchise throughout with the filming style and the editing choices and some of the music placement and things like that, but it didn't try to be another Saw movie. I would have disliked it if it tried to be, let's do Saw again, or a movie just like Saw where the guy's going to do this and everything's going to be the same. The traps, to me, there is some gore that is good, but the traps are like the least memorable. That's what it's different. They weren't bad traps, and I didn't like necessarily the setup. I didn't like the new voice, the new tape, Play Me, and the voice that comes on. It's like a robot voice, but I'm not going to say anything else. It's just, and it sounds like a female. It's just weird. But anyway, I don't like the voice at all. Nobody did. My wife, daughter, me. We didn't like the voice of the tape. But I mean, it wasn't bad, and I was actually into the characters here. I was into the story that they were telling, and Chris Rock is the lead. I was actually into him. There was only some humor in the beginning, a little Chris Rock stuff, but I mean, once the movie started progressing, it was just an interesting story, and I liked where it went. I liked the reveal at the end. There is something that doesn't make complete sense as to why the person who's revealed as the one behind it would be privy to all of the information, but we've looked the other way in that department before, even with some Jigsaw stuff. So it's not that I'm going to condemn it for it. It was just fine. It was just, to me, it was a good movie. I like it. It's from the book of Saw is the perfect way to categorize it. It's like a spin-off.
So what happens from here on out? Do they go back and continue from the Jigsaw storyline, and this is its own thing that might spin off another film or two?
I don't think it should or could. It could, I guess. I don't think it should spin off another one from this thing, because the way it ends, I don't think that they would.
So you think it's its own entity that just sort of like exists in the Saw universe, but they'll continue, if they do make more Saw films, it'll continue more based off of Jigsaw.
They say that there's already another option. There's already another film in the works.
Yeah, they did say there's another, but the question is that one going back to different storylines?
Look at it this way. In this movie, Jigsaw, they're the entire time, they're aware Jigsaw is dead, obviously. There's no question about it. At one time, someone says, well, we're not chasing a ghost here. It's really discredited. All it is from jump, this is the copycat Jigsaw killer.
Yeah.
That's all that said. We see the spiral on things. We hear the tape. We know what's going on here. But the way the person sets these traps up, it isn't the way Jigsaw would set up the traps. There's not something to, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think that's a good thing because it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a person that has Jigsaw's morals and is doing exactly what Jigsaw is doing. It's closer to like what a Hoffman was doing, in a manner of speaking.
Marco.
Where, but the reveal comes at the end, so you don't see this Hoffman character. But when we find out what, and when you see what takes place in the traps, it's more like what Hoffman would do compared to what Jigsaw was doing. It's a completely different type of thing. But I think it's just fine. Like I said, it's just a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was nice to go back to the movies. You know what I mean? And have some fun. But
the show.
Apparently the show. Yeah. Some people are hating
on the show, man.
I don't get it. I had more problems with Jigsaw than this. Those people liked, I don't know. Bottom line is, I don't know what to say, but I enjoyed it. I was cool with it, man. So
awesome.
And all these other movies, dude, the same thing keeps happening to me. When I watch a movie that's a Hammer movie or a Universal classic, or even a movie like Blue Velvet, I know people love these movies, and I can never go higher than an 8 on any of them. To this day, I have not gone over an 8 on a Universal classic or a Hammer. I don't know why. I like them. I've never shitted on any of them. They've all been fine. I just don't love them like I see other people. I wish I could. I just never overwhelmed. But I'll tell you this, Hereditary blew me the fuck away more than ever before last time I watched it. It might be 10 out of 10 now. I mean, granted, it was only
because I thought you were there, but yeah, I know that you've always loved Midsommar before, yeah.
Yeah, I still prefer Midsommar, I think, but man, Ari Aster, I watched this movie, and it was my brother and my friend. It was their first time watching it, so I had to show it to them. And we all watched it, and they loved it too, but man, it really took me in this time, like more than ever before. I had a buzz on too, so that might have been something to do with it, but, you know.
And Charlie's head stayed on this time.
There's one more point I want to make about modern horror film. And it's controversial because there was a controversial tweet where and they talked about No More Room in Hell, and it's gone around, and I was one of the few people that agreed with this person. And they said something about how come people are so critical on movies nowadays, but movies from the past, they seem to give a pass. And I think I've alluded to that before. In the past, like acting, people are shitting on what movie you said for acting. You just don't see it. Christian, you just said something.
I said Friday the 13th. I don't have a problem with
modern. It just came out. Modern movies, and they were shitting all. Benny. Okay, Benny loves you. Or we see this happen all the time with modern films.
Deep. Yeah.
Or, okay, people shitting, this is more than ever. I see them always shitting on the acting of these movies, but I never hear these same people shit on movies from the 80s. They just seem to like. I never see that as their complaint. I mean, you just said that people do shit on Friday. I guess they do. I don't see it much. People just seem to really love Friday the 13th, or maybe they don't. But I mean, that's what I think. I think that people they shit on modern movies. I believe they have a more critical eye on modern horror movies than they did in the past. Maybe I'm wrong, but I did happen to agree with that tweet. But I guess most horror fans did not.
I think it's now that they got a voice and retrospectively, like I'm on an 80s, I joined an 80s horror group. I don't know if I was invited to it or if I just joined, but I'm in it. And it's funny, Jamie just posted about this yesterday, and that's when it happened to me. When she says, are you about to respond to something in a message and you're typing it out and you just say, fuck it, and delete it, and you don't even send it. Because I just know it was going to start a shitstorm. And they was talking about movies that you just don't, like unpopular opinion in a sense, or movies you just don't like that seem to have a major following. No, but it was shocking what these people were putting down in their answers. And I understand it's opinion. It's opinion. But I could not, hold on one second. Something just happened here. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, something just launched. I must have hit something and it launched my music program. And I was like, I'm not even going to get into this. I was going to say I like Prom Night 4, but then I realized it was a 90s slasher. I know it was a 90s slasher, and they have these rules, but then all the movies that they were putting on span different decades. So I was just like, I'm not even going to get into this right now. But I mean, it was one of these things where I'm like, I based on your opinions, I don't even know if I want to be in this group.
Please don't tell anyone you like Prom Night 4.
No, but if I put Prom Night 4, because that was my most controversial opinion, was like, I like Prom Night 4, which a lot of people seem to shit on.
No, Black Christmas was more controversial.
Yeah, but it's not that I even really liked it. I said I don't understand the hate of it.
Or Goosebumps.
I agree.
No, people like Goosebumps, but Black Christmas 2019 was, like I said, like a 6.5.
Hey, I agree. I agree with you on all these fronts with all these movies. I'm just teasing you because I'm the same way. This is far from the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just have a different opinion of what the worst is, and then I watch some, and then people like shot on video right off the bat. You're not starting off on a good foot with me. So if it's a shot on video film, you're starting at a fucking 0. And I'm sorry to say it, it's just I've not seen anything to elevate me except on the taking found footage out of that equation, because that's a different subgenre altogether. But I'm talking about the old 80s. So I'm not doing well out of the gate. The second I see shoddy filmmaking and then amateur acting, I'm like, okay, this is a chore. Like, and so the gore's got to be astronomical. And then you've got like
the Exploding Heads movie.
Like Redneck Zombies, I had a problem with because I hated the soundtrack, and the gore, albeit fun and over the top, was bad, and it beat Shaun of the Dead and giving us one of the best gags at the time, which was 88 or whatever it came out, 87, 88, which was like pretend we're zombies. So like his whole that woman got attacked, or his buddy got attacked, and he's like walking away to try to get out of there, and he starts throwing up because of the violence and gore. Like, that was a good gag, but again, couldn't carry the movie. And so like, I just I can't give it a 10 out of 10, like, or anything like that, because the movie was so brutal to get through because of all the problems I had with the movie. I think it came in like at 6 or a 7, but a 6 or a 7 based on the fact that they attempted something good. But like Blood Cult or Boarding House, I'm like, these movies, I can't get through these movies. I can't get through them. They're horrible.
Boarding House is so boring.
To me.
Is it old, Boarding House?
82.
Late 80s? Oh, it's 82?
I thought it was 82, 83 because it was
you might be right. I think it is. Early
the first
80s,
mass distributed shot on video film or something like that.
And the director's cut is like 2.5 hours long, and it is just so boring.
No chance.
So where I'm going with it is like those are the movies that I just can't give. I know maybe it's my attention deficit. I just know I'm not going to enjoy some. I guess I should just not watch them because I know that out of the gate they're not going to be for me. But I'll hear someone go on about it. I'm like, maybe I'll give it a shot. And then I'm cursing myself while I'm watching it.
I'll tell you what, though, those worst films ever that are reserved for the films that you turn off, that you never see, that you never finish anyway. And that doesn't happen to me a lot. So if I give a movie a 2 or 3, those are the bottom of the barrel movies. But I very rarely give something a 0 or a 1. You know, Sleepaway Camp, Survivor definitely qualifies. That's just a fucking turd. That's one of the worst movies ever made. Like the fact that people want that.
That's an insult.
Yeah, I love Sleepaway Camp. If they ever released Survivor, and I don't care if it came with fucking Felissa Rose, the real Felissa Rose, I still wouldn't buy it.
Cock and all.
Cock
and balls.
Yeah.
Did you see that funny? Did you see that funny meme of like Judy asking her, "How come you don't shower with the other girls?" and her just looking with that crazy look, and it's like, I'd get a boner.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I would. I love Judy. My God.
Yeah, you're a big Judy guy.
Oh, she's so hot.
There's another film back in the day, man. That mother or that aunt's acting threw me off. We've talked about it when we were doing the retrospective way back in episode 15. Funny. No, it's grown on me. It's now part of its overall charm.
It's on purpose, I think.
But there's charm, and then there's not every movie's trying to be charming when it's doing it. It's just shitty fucking acting and shoddy production value and everything else. Sleepaway Camp seems like you're right. There's a charm, and it's almost like this is what we were doing at the time, and it seems to work for the movie.
Yeah.
But when I was a teen, I did not see it.
And she has such a small role that it seemed like comical, a little bit of comic relief. Oh, she's going to be remembered for this, and she is. Whereas today, it seems like I don't know. Just the acting
doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore. But even when they try it with today, there's no charm to it because the storytelling's bad. Everything about the film is bad. Focus on making a good film first, and then worry about the added little charms to it. Nobody cares about storytelling anymore, and that's what pisses me off. I'm tired of watching films. Oh, this is so artistic and beautiful to look at. It's fucking boring.
I like that too. Yeah, but there's room for everything. See, that's what I'm in the 80s and in the 70s. Every other decade, there's just different type of movie, and that's fine. Granted, I guess you're right. There probably are more artsy movies nowadays, but it's like anything else because a couple artsy movies make a splash, and everybody else wants to try to do a similar thing. It's the trend. And I get it, but I will risk having a movie like an Agazusa or something else, or maybe the Seder that you guys said, where it's art for art's sake and nothing else. To me, that's worth having around for even one amazing horror movie a year that's artsy that way. But the movie is great. I don't mind that. At least if I have something to look at, because again, I'm very visual. I'm very big on the sight and the sound. Even if the story isn't the greatest, when it is the greatest, it works. Give me a Hereditary, for example, okay? But I mean, I'm very big. I could just watch something that's like trippy and cool as long as it keeps me engaged if the sound and if the sight is good and give up elements like story. I can do that. I know you guys too can't.
No, it's fair. It's a fair assessment. It's a fair assessment.
Psychopaths, right? Remember that movie? You guys
that was great. That was great.
And that's artsy in its way. It's trippy and it's just little.
But, yeah, that's an like artistic film. Yeah.
And some people might watch that movie, and matter of fact, some people did watch that movie.
Oh, they hated it.
And it's related. It's right. They fucking hated the movie.
Yeah, it didn't get good reviews, that movie. Meanwhile, I keep checking into Mickey Keaton because I think he's got a few new movies on the horizon.
Yeah, I think so. We were big. All three of us, shockingly, were supporters of that film, and I think we were in a minority. That it was not well received at all. But oh well, that's where
I think I just get more frustrated when I get on a roll of seeing so many films in a row where I'm like, where's the fucking story? And that's what I feel like has been happening with 2021 lately with me. I'm watching stuff and everything's like, all right, nothing's super long, so like I'm like not wasting a lot of time, but 80 minutes, like establish a fucking story. It's like nothing's happening. Like, what are you doing? But like you said, these are the films, the back burner films from the last few years that they're pushing out. But we do the same thing with found footage. I mean, we get tons of just generic, been there, done that found footage year in, year out
and we don't watch them.
And we don't for the most part.
That's the difference.
But we
do. If you're watching movies, some of them come higher rated because they're artistic, so we know about them already. Yeah. So you're going to watch all these artistic films, whether or not they have a great plot or not. You're going to watch them. The difference is you're watching all of them and seeing a lot of bad ones where we can already probably skip 50% of the found footage movies that are
That's
made.
true,
Not gonna
yeah.
bother with them. So
Yeah,
you're
if
seeing every one.
Yeah, if I read the description, it's like, oh, a priest has to perform an exorcism, something like that, or a camera crew goes into an abandoned hospital thinking it might be haunted. Like right then and there, okay, been there, done that a million times. But then you get a few gems like we did last year with I did really enjoy it when I finally went back and watched it, Murder, Death, Koreatown, which I know you had on your list.
Oh,
And
yes.
me, I've only watched it once, and I put it at my number 20. But I really want to watch it again because I'll say it again. I really think it's a super underrated film because I didn't even hear about it until I discovered it. But Death of a Vlogger, which I thought was terrific.
I liked it too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Creepy.
so.
Creepy. We gotta eventually talk movies. We could just have a show.
Indubitably.
We could just BS for
Been a while.
2.5 hours. We could do that. Maybe next show I think we're doing the collectors situation. But anyway, maybe we'll just do that one day. But every time we try to do it, we can't. It's natural. We can't say, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. Let's have a list of topics. It doesn't work the same way.
Christian, I believe you talked to Christian about bringing his list of top 5 directors, and that's something I actually wanted to do also.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I
We did have
forgot.
homework assignments.
Show. Cliffhanger.
No, I'm just saying, like 140. What's today? 143.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We
Today
never
is
did
140.
talk about. I don't think we introduced.
Today's 140. No, Dave said. I think he said 143, and then so next would be 144. So like 146, we could do like a BS show.
Yeah, maybe we could. Why not? I think the people like it. But the thing is, we could also get here and then only have like an hour worth of BS, and then we're stuck. It's organic.
So, you have one movie prepared.
Yeah, you're right. Have a movie prepared, and if we get to it, we do. That's what we should do. Like just some old movie that we've all seen a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And, so even if we don't talk about it, it's okay.
Again, let's scare Julie. That's what we'll do. It just ends. The end. So you guys want to do one? You want to bang one out right now?
Yeah, we better bang one out. Yeah.
All right, let's bang out. We're doing Jacob's Wife and Benny Loves You. Let's start with Jacob's Wife. These, of course, are both 2021s. And this one's from the director Travis Stevens, who did Girl on the Third Floor. And
never saw it.
It was okay.
CM Punk.
Yeah, CM Punk, who has a minor appearance in this one.
What?
Yeah, he's one of the cops at the end.
Are you serious?
Yeah, for like 2 seconds. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so here's the synopsis. Anne, married to a small-town minister, feels her life has been shrinking over the past 30 years. Encountering the Master brings her a new sense of power and an appetite to live bolder. However, the change comes with a heavy body count.
Okay. It's an original kind of movie, don't you think?
I feel like it's a throwback. I feel like
it's a throwback, but that's what makes it an original. There's throwback elements to it, but I'm going to say one thing and then say whatever you want. But this is what it is to me. It's a movie that the presentation is like a modern presentation where it looks really good, sounds really good. I know right off the bat it's going to be not artistic, but it's going to have that aesthetic that a little bit artsy, okay? So shot well, scored well, all that stuff. But when it comes down to the kills are more over the top, almost like a horror comedy or a different type of horror movie. That's why it's original. What other movie does that? Usually a movie that has like a serious tone to it, when it comes down to the kills, it's, you know what I mean? Do you
Dude, that's actually my criticism of the film, because
I think it's fun for it.
No, I enjoy. Let me preface it by saying that my 2021 watches, this included, have really turned around for me, and I've really been enjoying a lot of the films I've been watching of late, this being one of them. But I felt like it was a story of like two halves. I felt like the first half gave you like set up some character depth, which is good and all, but felt very serious. And then the second half of the film, the over-the-top kills came in, the comedy came in, and I really enjoyed that I almost wish they had established that from the beginning.
It's the total shift. I agree. I actually thought that too. I'm like, wow, this movie's didn't set up like this. And I know a lot of people say this about Krampus. I feel like Krampus has got it throughout. It's the whimsical sort of way the movie's made. So when Christmas cookies come attacking, I'm not taken out of the movie at all. I feel like it works fine. But there's people that have problems with that. This movie, I actually remember thinking, well, they started this off or brooding, almost like alien, and it becomes very playful, which I actually like. But it's a shift. It's an odd kind of shift, and I like the story. I like the bored housewife kind of story, feeling like she's been sort of put in the background. It's kind of although very modern in what we're seeing now. I feel like it's a tried and true kind of tale about being stuck in the ways and being bored and feeling like they need an adventure, like a vampire-esque story.
Yeah, but it felt very serious at the beginning, like, you know, when
very serious
when Larry Fessenden's character, you know, Reverend Jacob, is sort of like, oh, what, you didn't make breakfast? It felt almost like they were gonna like have it this bored, tired, almost abused housewife. But it never really goes there because the characters are revealed to be pretty much genuinely good people. And that's where the comedy comes in the second half. But the first half almost feels like, we're going to get like a serious toned vampire drama.
If that's what they wanted to do, but that's the problem. I feel like the opening really set it up for something serious, and then all of a sudden it became like kind of like like when they're trying to like get the bodies out, like, oh, Reverend, you did it again, or like the minister. The minister, it did seem like they played up the goofy parts. And again, I'm not down on the movie. I enjoyed the movie too, but I questioned it. I was like, wow, this is a little odd. It shifts. And it's a weird shift, and I don't know if everybody will be along for the ride necessarily because of that shift.
Holy shit. I think I watched a different movie, man, because I didn't see a tonal shift. The only thing that was ever goofy to me was some of the kills. And not even all the kills, just some of them with an excessive amount of blood squirting, like Kill Bill style in a way, but still cool and gory. But to me, the tone never shifted. And even the scene you're talking about with the husband and wife sneaking the body in, to me, I was watching it with my wife, and we were talking about it, and like, oh, this nosy bitch is gonna call now, because the woman called, and that didn't seem none of that seemed goofy or playful to me. It just seemed like one situation after another. The only goof I got, like I said, was in some of the kills, looking like something out of again, like I said, like a Kill Bill or what, to a degree, not even every kill. That's all I was saying. The tone never shifted for me. I thought it was a serious, subject matter start to finish. Wow, that's weird, but you guys both agree, so I don't know. What can I say?
Well, I felt like
No, sorry, Brady, go.
No, I was going to say, like the reanimated bodies chasing it around. Sorry.
He did that on purpose.
You fucking skunk. When he stakes the reanimated body, it's comical. The whole jealousy. He's almost like jealous that she gets to be a vampire. Like, why was the master drawn? Why was the master drawn? But it's comical. Like you're gonna wait in the car. You don't even have a stake. Pull over, and she just uses her strength and rips the rung off the fence.
That's just realistic to me. I don't think that's done for comedy. Wow. See, I'm watching.
Yeah.
And I called it.
I think they were going for comedy, but I don't think not in a negative way. I think they were taking the seriousness of the setup and the tone, and now they're having fun with it. Yeah. It's almost like now their relationship, because of how routine and bored and by the numbers it became, it's almost like now look at the situation we're in, and it's like taking that almost like what a mainstream comedy would do and take that serious foundation, but now they've injected comedy to it.
Yeah, the minute she changes, it almost feels comical, because even like the scene in the supermarket where she gets the blood and then she drinks it at home, it felt very much like What We Do in the Shadows when he eats the chip and he's like, I wouldn't do that, because next thing you know she's vomiting blood. It reminded me so much of Nick in What We Do in the Shadows when he eats the French fry.
Just because she pukes that way?
Yeah.
See, that reminded me more of like Let the Right One In, when she tries to eat the candy that he gets for her, and then in the next scene she's puking and it's puking blood or whatever. To me, it seems straightforward. That's so weird that I didn't get that vibe. I just got like, wow. I guess
because of the over the top nature of it, it gave me that feeling. But yeah, I'm right with Brandon, but not in a negative way.
Not
I
at all.
enjoyed it, but it did take me a little bit. I'm like, well, they seem to be. This seems to be playful now, where I didn't get that setup at all.
Yeah.
And like even when the dude from from Nightmare 2, which was great to see him again.
Robert
I
Russler.
like him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's great. The second thing and scared, I laughed because the rats are on him instantaneously and eating him into nothing. And I was just like, wow, that was like a weird. And that's where the shift happens. And then she gets attacked, and then she's wearing red. And we're going through all these things that are kind of cliche in a sense. Sorry, it's telling me to go to audio only. I'm whenever I move to this room, I get these bad problems with the internet. So. But it seems to avoid falling into cliched or boredom. Like it keeps it fresh and entertaining. But yeah, there was definitely a shift for me.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, either way, I guess what can we do? I didn't see it. You guys didn't. But it's not a critique. It's just an observation that I'm like, wow, I didn't catch on. Like, I don't think I chuckled once, or my wife as we're watching. I think we both took it just as a story about this couple and what happens in life. And then at the end, it reminded me more of like a old school. Granted, it was old school from the beginning, very Salem's Lot. Right off the bat, when she met the guy, it's funny because my wife was like, she's watching the movie and she always has these little anecdotes, and we're watching it, and at first she gets mad, and she's glad when what happens with Robert Russler and the CGI rats out, because she's like, oh, fuck him, what, she's a married woman, what are you doing, this and that, and and then later on, what did she say? She was like, oh, something happened and she changed her. It's probably in my notes. But later on, she was like, oh, I know. She got mad when Jacob went through his little character arc, and he leaves the scene and does his thing. And then she's like, oh, well, you know what? She should have messed around. Then she felt bad for fucking what are they? And she was like, oh, poor thing. And then she was feeling bad for her. You know what I mean? Where in the she's like, she should have messed around with that guy if this is the way her husband's gonna act now and abandon her in this way. But when they first went there and she met Rustler and they went to the place and everything else, and as soon as you get down there, and going into this movie I knew nothing, but as soon as I saw those two crates down there, that old school Nosferatu, or even, Salem's Lot. That's the first thing I said to my wife. I said, this is old school. I said, this is like Nosferatu or Salem's Lot. And then when we see the actual vampire himself, it has that look. Now, my wife said it looked like the one from What We Do in the Shadows in the television show. When you guys haven't seen the show yet, but there's this a thing that's similar to that. But it's closer to what Peter was in the movie, honestly.
Peter.
That's
gotta
what
love
it
Peter.
Is. Oh,
and it was the woman who plays the nun, right? Playing the vampire.
That's what I thought, right? Plays the nun.
It is.
Wow.
The female actress who plays the nun in the Conjuring universe played the master in this.
So is the master supposed to be male or female?
I think the master's supposed to be male, but I had a tough time seeing the master as male. It seemed female to me.
Yeah,
well, it was. I thought it was female too, and I thought that was supposed to be a comment as well.
It might be female. You know what? It has to be female because the master's talking to her like this is what they do, because even Jacob was jealous of like how like powerful and confident she became when she was a vampire. And she's sort of giving her the speech at the end, even as she's
about
being
Eve?
staked. Yeah, about Eve and stuff. So maybe the master is supposed to be female. You're right, Christian. I changed my mind.
But it looks male. It looks like a regular. It looks like Nosferatu or the one from Salem's Lot. You know what I mean? It has that typical look to it. But it does sound female to me.
That's so funny though. You just didn't find the quirkiness and the comedy in it. I found it like even simple little things like when she's redecorating the house and she's lifting up the couch with her bare hands and
oh, that was cool. I just thought that was cool. Like when fucking the tall man picks up the coffin in Phantasm, and it's like, oh wow, look how strong he is. That's what I thought. I didn't take it as comedy.
Or the friends come over for dinner. And she's got that pretty like the guy. It's horrific, but funny.
What the hell, Ann? What the hell, Ann?
Yeah,
the woman
like the woman's strung upside down to be bled out.
Yeah,
and then they walk in with her.
What the hell?
It was great. Yeah.
But that's realistic to me because that's the kind of response you would have. There,
At the
it'd be like if
dentist?
I went to my brother's house and his wife was doing that. You know them so well, or you think you do, and all of a sudden they're doing that. You almost wouldn't even know how to react. Like you wouldn't.
You would
Be,
have thought she
you wouldn't
dropped.
run.
Well, that's the thing. You would have thought like she dropped the lasagna and started screaming. That would be typical of like the horror of it. But it felt like she's just gonna hold on to the lasagna because she worked hard on that lasagna. And she even talks about like, oh, I didn't use this time. I used this instead. And then the husband drops his beer, but she's just like, what the hell, man? And
Well,
she's
I
like,
guess-
it's not what it looks like. The whole scene at the dentist with her new teeth coming in, and then she gets the teeth whitening. I was laughing at that. It's burning her face the way she looks.
Yeah, why did that happen? That was what I was. I thought they were trying to remove the teeth, the vampire teeth.
No,
and
they were
that's
just
what-
whitening. They were whitening her teeth. They were 'cause she
UV.
said it was
UV
UV
light.
light. Yeah, it was the UV light burning her flesh because she was turning.
Now that was my complaint, but at least at the end, as I'm watching this movie, my wife and I are 2 or 3 times. My wife said to me, "How come they could go out in the daylight? How come they could go out?" And I'm like, "Shit." I go, "I don't know." I go, "Well, I guess it doesn't have to be a rule in every movie." I'm telling her, and she's like getting a little frustrated by it. And then things are going on. Then I see Amelia fully changed.
Yeah.
Right. But then our lead, what the hell is her name? I'm sorry. I feel like
And
okay. Then Anne is not. And I'm like, well, how come Amelia has changed right away and Anne is not? And how come Anne keeps going out in the daytime? This is by my wife and her. And I'm like, what the hell? I hope they explain it. And they finally do at the end. And her words are, it says, she states why I wasn't fully turned. So that was part of it. And there's something going on, but I just didn't get the why of it. And then the one part happens and the lead, the master, makes it sound like they have a choice. Okay, well, you've chosen your husband. And then I thought the movie's going to be over in that respect. Okay, so she's going to live this way. But then she goes back. It was just kind of weird. So I was struggling with the movie, like in the middle point as to what was going on with this character and why it was happening. But they kind of explained it at the end, but then they let her choose again. So I was just like, that's why I didn't say it was a great movie. I really enjoyed things about it, but then again, they wrapped it up in the end, so I feel better about it. But were you guys having this issue at all, or was it just my wife and I? But were you questioning why these things were, like, why was she able to go out in the sunlight? Why wasn't she full-fledged, but the other ones were? And
I just chalked it up to the fact that she's still in the process of changing, and she hasn't fully embraced it one way.
Yeah, but Amelia changed right away. We know this when we first
Yeah, but she probably drank from the master right away.
Okay. But the thing is, they show the teeth marks in her, and they're deep fucking marks. That's not going to be caused by a freaking, a quick scratch. I mean, you could see how deep those pores were. They were gaping fucking holes in her neck. They were sweet. But anyway, I'm
You
not
have to use mud
about,
flaps to plug them up.
I just wanted to know.
I agree with Brandon there. I never thought of it as anything much more than she's still going through the transformation. But that's why the direct UV of the teeth whitening is what burned her mouth open, because it's UV light. That's UV beams directly on them. What movie was it? Is it Blade where they have the UV guns? Or is that the franchise? There's a vampire one where they actually have UV, like high power UV guns, and they shoot the vampires with them and whatever. I'm pretty sure it's Blade.
Yeah,
Might be one of the Blades.
Well, anyway, that's why that scene's funny, because at the point, like, you're not 100% sure what's going on yet. You know that there's some wackiness happening, but yeah, at that point, that's her mouth was starting to burn up, and the only thing that replenished it was blood. Right? That's when it's healed after.
Well, yeah, and then Fessenden tries giving her weed to curb her bloodlust.
That was cool.
That's a good scene too, because you see him steal it from that punk kid, and then at the end of the day, like it's a good scene between him and his wife. Like it's a touching moment with them in the kitchen.
I just think when it starts off and it's Fessenden preaching, this serious thing, and then everything, I'm like, oh god, he's gonna be an abusive prick, and then it turns out he's actually kind of like, he's a good guy. They just sort of fell into a lull after 30 plus years of marriage. But I enjoyed the first half from a filmmaking standpoint, but the second half is where it shined for me. And those kills were awesome. Like when
They
she
were
pulls
good.
that guy's head back, she pretty much like decapitates him. And
Right.
and I thought it was comical when the friends Bob and Carol was name when they get killed at the end. When Bob gets killed and he's holding that knife and he's swinging it behind him, trying to stab as he's being killed. It just looked funny.
Uh, no, it was good. It's good relationship horror. It's good for married people to see what happens in relationships over the years, and they have so much invested, and they've been together. Just like you've always just been Jacob's wife or whatever. That whole thing, it's cool. It's good from that perspective of a relationship movie, and I dig that. And that's one of the charms of it. But I really enjoyed it. I just had, and I don't understand why. I don't want to spoil it, but why does he get arrested at the end? Somebody gets arrested at the end of the movie, and I don't get why. Like, I don't see any proof of any type of thing that could have possibly happened for this person to be arrested. And those are my only complaints.
Who got arrested?
I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil anything. Somebody got arrested. Somebody was in the back of a cop car.
Why don't I remember?
Why am I not remembering?
You remember
2 nights
the
before I
person?
watched this damn movie.
Holy shit. They're in the back of the cop car. They go to their house to investigate some things that are happening. I guess I'll wait till the show is over. So, it's okay.
I know that. Yeah, I know now what you're saying. Yeah.
No, that's because of the body being hanging upside down, being,
No body was discovered by cops. They didn't discover anything. That's what I'm trying to say. There was no evidence of anything.
That's because the cops covered it up. The cops covered it up because they didn't know what to say. One of the cops even says to CM Punk, how would you write this up? He says domestic disturbance, nonviolent. He's like,
isn't it funny?
That's exactly what I would do.
Isn't it funny that the two movies we're discussing tonight have a very similar ending in that regard?
Yeah, as soon as you said that, it popped in. Yeah. But I guess I didn't understand it in this movie.
Yeah,
I just thought
there's no way of explaining this, so it's like, you guys can go. Like,
yeah, but no. What they witnessed was the master and what went down with that. There was a killing involving something otherworldly. That I get, but that was the only murder that's seen. That's why I could see they're not going to write this up because they're not going to say, well, there was a vampire here and
they found stuff in the trunk. They found. Remember, he was put into the position of being questioned or on the on their mind because of that girl that was survived of the two punk kids where they get the weed from. And then she says that he was there, and then he's driving down the street in the car, remember? And he either speeds or something and gets pulled over, opens up the trunk, and he's got his little kit in there. And then
that's what it was, the kit. I was like, what was in that kit to cause him to get arrested? This is what I told him. I go, there's a book in there. I go, maybe because there's rope, so they thought that maybe the rope was used to tie.
It was like How to Kill Dracula. It was like a whole How to Kill Vampire.
But still, that's not enough to arrest somebody based on a vampire killing kit. So if a cop finds a vampire killing kit in my trunk, I'm going to jail. What sense does that make?
No, they set that up completely because that girl said that she saw vampires and her boyfriend was killed and he was there, and that the minister was there. The cop came and saw him and said all that. He's like, well, you just heard this story. Then this guy's zooming across town. He's already been sort of questioned of having some weirdness and people being at the house and all this and the other thing. They open up his trunk and see a vampire killing kit. I'd be like, okay,
that's enough to arrest somebody.
He says you're going to just have to sit in the back of my car. I don't know if they arrest him. They just said we're going to need you to sit in the back of the car. So.
They put the sirens on, and there's two cops, both in the front seat of the car, and he's in the back behind the thing, and they're fucking giving him the business and yelling at him and hauling him in. And I was somewhat thinking, why would they arrest him? I didn't see any in his special. Now, was that before or after they say that part at the end where how are we going to write this one up? That was before, right?
Yeah.
Before, because that's at the very end.
That's way before.
I had no question with it. I thought I'm not remembering every scene transition and how everything blends together, but I remember it being totally fine that he would be questioned, and he's like, yeah. Like he's all hesitant about because he knows what's in the trunk, and it's not going to look good.
It was a body. I thought that he was afraid that there was a body in the trunk, and if you open up the trunk and open up the briefcase, I was like, what the fuck's in that briefcase? Body parts? I'm thinking to myself. Then he opens it up, and all I see is a Dracula book and a rope and something else. And next thing you know, he's in a cop car. And I say to myself, how does that constitute an arrest? It doesn't make sense to me. Because one fucking kid says, oh, I was at this place and there was a vampire and this guy was there. Oh, well, must be true. Let's arrest him. It just
under the suspicion of what's going on with people disappearing and dying, they think it's the Reverend who's just gone mad and is doing it. So that it's not like they're arresting him on all these charges. They're sort of bringing him in under suspicion based on the evidence they found. But of course, it's like, oh.
Okay, maybe you're right. At the time, it just didn't make sense to me. All I know is the movie was going where it was. He has this Dracula killing kit and a rope and something else, and I'm like, okay, but he's a cop, but not a cop, but he's a priest, so he's supposed to believe in stuff like that. It's like an exorcism packet. I don't know. I just at the time I was like, that seems like an awful easy way to get arrested. I go, it's that easy to get arrested?
In our movie, it's going to be you getting arrested because the cops discover a whole trunk full of empty toilet paper rolls. Like, what are you doing with this many mud flaps?
I'm just dumping them, officer.
Oh, shit. Well, those are my only complaints. I enjoyed the movie. I just had questions about some things that I was like scratching my head about, Yeah. But I did dig it.
I like the fact that, it's a relationship film, and the relationship obviously is still strained by, of course, that last scene. But even as Fessenden, even as, the master is being destroyed, like, she gets mad at him. She's like, why'd you do that? He's like, I'm ending this. He's like, it wasn't your decision. So, like, he's being, I know, but he's being wrenched, even though he's.
Of course, that's relationship.
Yeah, to me, that was comical. I like that.
Oh, I took it as she was conflicted still, and like she was still lured into.
Yeah, she is. She's definitely still conflicted, and obviously, like at the end, are we gonna continue to look for a cure because it didn't heal her? Like, you didn't completely understand the rules of it, like you said, like you thought if you destroyed the master, like, she'd be okay at the end.
Right. That's what I thought.
But I like the fact that the rules weren't completely understood here, and the fact that we don't know what's going to happen. But I like that sort of comical ending with a little serious undertone. But that first half was way too serious.
I liked it all. Start to finish, aside from the questions I had. But I mean, it was all.
I did like it start to finish, but once the gore and the comedy came in, I was just like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. Like, whereas the first half, I'm like, where are they going with this? Is this abuse? Is he going to turn out to be a crazy priest, like every film? Because usually he's a nutcase in every film, or he's killed off in seconds.
You knew something as soon as she went to that place with Robert Rustler and the rats came out, and then that cloaked thing. We had to rewind it a couple of times because she said it was a witch. She goes, I just saw shiny eyes. She goes, I think it was a witch. I'm like, no, I think it was a vampire because we have these two crates down here. And is that a vampire? Then I had to go back and rewind it and everything else, and I paused it. And it was a real quick thing, and it made a noise like a bat. So I was like, I think it's a vampire. So then we were talking about that for a bit, and then we watched that. But as soon as it went down there, then we knew that it's nothing to do with the priest anymore.
He even says something to her when they're driving about her turning into a bat. I don't want you turning into a bat or something. And she just a look on her face, she just looks like she still hates him. Like she still wants to feed on him.
I love the transition to her though. As soon as she made a switch, and we see her shopping in there, and how she changed her look and everything. I thought it was great. I'm glad she stayed that way. It was cool.
Good performances by them because they're in a lot of stuff, but it was nice to see. This was quality.
She was a producer on this too, Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, I think they both were.
Cool to see. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was fun. I went in blind too. I had no clue. If you told me, maybe if I went in knowing it was a vampire film, I wonder what my thought process would have been, or how my reaction would have been there. But I went in not knowing what to expect. I thought it was going to be a darker film, kind of like The Dark and the Wicked, because I went in totally blind, and you get this setup and everything. I did not expect it to go the route it did. So again, half head explosion overall.
Yes, half head for me too. Yeah.
Right there, half head explosion.
It's the year of the half head, so pretty much.
Must be the season of the half head. I don't know how.
Yeah.
It's all good.
You don't know it's right.
Oh God.
Wow.
Cuddle me.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow. Let's go. Let's get into this motherfucker.
Yes. Now I saw this movie and I suggested it because I enjoyed it so much. I saw this movie like 3 weeks ago and you guys hadn't, and I was surprised B had it because he sees everything. And I was like, well,
I slowed down. I told you I slowed down just because I was reaching a point where I was ready to burn 2021 down to the ground because I was fucking hating it. And overall, it's not a great year, but let's see if this movie changes my mind.
But we've got Spiral out
Oh,
now.
yeah,
We've got
we're still not even.
We got a ton of.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff coming out now. We're not even at the halfway mark yet. So Benny Loves You. I think this was made in 2019, but 2021, written, directed, and starring this guy Carl Holt.
yeah.
So a triple threat here. Jack, a man desperate to improve his life, throws away his beloved childhood plush, Benny. It's a move that has disastrous consequences when Benny springs to life with deadly intentions. Man, Benny is fucking adorable. I want a Benny.
Agreed.
I want a Benny.
I'm right there with you guys, man. Holy shit. He's just so fun. Like, and
Yes.
this movie's a blast, and he does a great job with the writing, directing, and the acting. This is a movie I just read recently, some reviews of people criticizing the acting in this film, and I'm like, are you fucked? What movie did you watch? This is exactly what you need from every character in this movie. And it works perfectly. I don't know what they're talking about.
Fantastic horror comedy where the acting is
Absolutely.
fantastic. I loved him as the lead actor. The female co-lead, I thought she was beautiful. I loved her. I thought she was great.
Yeah, she's cool.
And the opening of this, oh my God, I love that
Awesome.
whole opening with the mother and the daughter.
Oh,
Yes.
dude.
When she bitch slaps her daughter, and you see the spit fly out of her mouth like a Rocky movie, and then you see the handprint on there. I'm like, this is my kind of movie. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And the end result.
I laughed out loud.
Oh yeah, the end result. Yeah. I'm like, this is gonna be a treat.
It really
And it
was.
is.
That kind
From his the dog, like when he has to watch his boss's dog.
Poor Precious.
Dude, that is 100% my kind of comedy to a T. Anytime something's happening that another person is witnessing somebody doing something that they're not really doing, but I always put myself into the, the position of the other person that's fucking seeing this unfold in front of them. What's going on in their head? Dude, I've watched this movie twice. I'm almost pissing my pants both times. I'm fucking applauding. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm bursting out laughing. That is the funniest scene of the year for me. And again, horror comedy, when it's done right, is great. It's not too goofy. There's maybe one goofy thing in here to me, but the rest of it to me, it's just done smart, and they're believable characters.
It's very smart. It's very funny. I was laughing and chuckling and had a smile on my face from start to finish.
Right.
And the fact that our lead character, when Jack sort of like rationalizes like how to fix things, and Benny just still can't control himself and winds up killing anyway. Like, that's hilarious. He's like, all right, I'm going to get my job back. He's got his job back. He's reasoned with his boss, but he makes him say, "I love being your bitch." And of course, anytime Benny hears someone else use the word love in relation to Jack, he just fucking kills. And my God.
What about the birthday setup? Like, it's great. That's
awesome.
Comedy gold when he's like finds out he's at home. And another one of my favorite callbacks to the fucking year for a joke, because it's mentioned at the birthday when he's like, "You're 40-year-old." He's like, "I'm 36." And at the end, the cop or the scene where he's like, we got a 40-year-old suspect. He's like, "I'm 36," or whatever like that. Yeah. The callback to that joke, I lost it. That's my comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Like I love that stuff. Like, it was like but the whole death sequence at the beginning for his birthday sequence was.
Oh my God! When his parents died, that was so funny. And he's like, "Mom, say something," and she goes,
Yeah.
And she's got the toothpicks hanging out of her face.
Dude, happens a lot of times in movies that I end up loving. This is a weird thing, but for some reason, the first like 10 to 15 minutes of a lot of these horror comedies, it seems like the most goofy stuff jumps in right off the bat. And like the first 15 minutes of the movie, while I did enjoy it, I thought the whole movie was going to be one gag like that, start to finish. And I'm glad it wasn't. It goes into other stuff. But like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it always seems like movies start off, it's like they want to, I don't know, they want to start off on a certain foot. And the most goofy stuff is usually in the beginning. And then it either lasts that way the entire movie, or it steers in a different direction, and then, you know, we'll revisit it now and then throughout the movie. And that's what this is. Like that movie Cooties has a real goofy beginning. Certain movies do this, and I'm like on the fence. I'm liking it, but I'm like, well, if it's going to be 90 minutes of just this, it's not going to be for me. And that's what happened here. And then I loved it. When Benny, anytime Benny walks, the way he jumps, he's happy, he's laughing. And
Yeah.
I laugh. I enjoy seeing him. And I'm telling you, I almost cried at the fucking end of this movie because of my feelings. Even though Benny did some bad things, it's almost like the new Child's Play movie when he didn't know he was doing bad things. He was operating with a heart, like because he loved and latched onto him since. And then later on, when they show how long he's been around, and the one scene when he looks like he's gonna fool him to kill him, and they're doing to me, and I know it might be silly to other people, but it was tugging on my heartstrings. I was into it.
It was.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they didn't have Benny be able to change his expressions. They didn't have him be able to change the things he says. And the way he moves is absolutely hilarious.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
It's like an Elmo Cookie Monster coming at you.
Exactly.
It's like a combination. Well, it's more Elmo, but then, like it just is like cuddles or like
cuddle me,
just
cuddle me.
Yeah,
Benny
cuddle
loves
me.
you. Benny loves you. Cuddle me. Cuddle me.
Amazing. And the best of all is he only does it like 3 or 4 times, but they're always the perfect situation. He goes, "Oh wow." I love it. I fucking love it. Oh wow.
Even when they show him sitting on the couch watching horror movies with Jack, and he's sitting
Yeah.
behind the pillow shaking. I love him. He's scared.
Right.
I'm actually shocked. I kind of thought Brandon may have enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect from you, Dave, because I wasn't sure if it was going to be too goofy for you or what. So this is awesome to hear because, this has been the surprise for me. Again, Jason Smith and possibly even Heather recommended it. I think it was 2 people, but Jason mentioned it. He watched it about a month or so ago, I think. And I remember him saying, "Hey, just watch this. I think you'd love it." And I'm like, I'm going to get to it. And I said I still had to watch Wally's Wonderland or whatever that was. And Willy's Wonderland. And I watched this, loved it. And then I said, I got to watch Willy's Wonderland now. Watched it and went, wow, that's exactly how you don't do a movie. Like, I was like, so 5 out of 10 on that movie. Like, right in the middle. Like, I didn't find it fun, really. And as soon as it got fun, I just like, okay, Nicolas Cage's not saying a word to the whole thing. Is that, I don't know. I just don't know. But I'm comparing it because there seems to be this little resurgence, if you will. I know there's only been 3 films, but with the Banana Splits movie, Willy's Wonderland, and I'll even group this in that because it's kind of like these goofy characters that kind of come to life, but this is the one that does it right.
Yes. It really does, man.
Even
it's
the
not
Child's
goofy.
Play than it is Willy's Wonderland, but Child's Play does play it more for scares. Trying to get a laugh here and there, and this one knows it's goofy, and that's why it's just more enjoyable. I don't know if it's necessarily scary, but it's just
this is not scary. This is not scary.
The
but
kills are good.
The kills are really good.
Oh,
If you want to make me happy, if you're gonna have comedy in your movie, at least when it comes time for the horror aspects, and they do it, they have scary setups a couple times. Even in the beginning with the kid, anytime you see the smoke coming out of a box at all, in any scene in this movie, it happens like 3 times. One with the girl and her little talkie Tina situation, the thing with Benny, and the thing in the very beginning. When you see that, the ambiance, the music they play, the lighting, it's like a horror movie. And when you see the kills, they are horror kills.
Dude,
that is the difference between this and Psycho Gorman.
Yeah.
And the only character, there's one part where I thought it was a little goofy when the girl comes in and you think that she's gonna blow him off because she finds things out, and then she helps him clean up the dog after all that scene. She takes the blood off the ground and wipes it on his face. No woman would ever do that.
His
It wouldn't
facial
happen.
expression when she wipes
Right.
the blood on him, though, is hilarious.
But it still somehow works, and it's okay. Like that character is quirky, and they are into screwed up shit. But it isn't like the character of the lead girl in Psycho Gorman. Nobody acts like that. It's too over the top. Where this, it's just a little bit goofy, but you roll with it. To me, that's the difference. I hope I can.
Well,
people know what I'm saying when I'm comparing those two movies. The difference in
Yeah.
these two movies. There are goofy parts in this film. Like, okay, if you
The
kill
cop-
a cat,
the cop-
you're
the
gonna kill
cop.
a cat, and I'm gonna laugh. That never happened. Maybe because you see the cat for a millisecond, and it's obviously a doll. And the thing with the dog, everything about it is fucking hysterical. The way it's killed, him being hunted down, and with the axe being thrown in the air, and when it hits it, and then everything that happens after with the girl.
like
Get
him
away
putting it
from
together
her,
with a
you
puzzle
bitch.
piece, almost like putting the eye back on. I remember, like,
Yeah, it died of old age. He's gonna
was
tell
it
her. And he
Precious?
looks at it.
What was the dog's name?
Precious. Precious.
Yeah.
Precious.
So fucking funny. That scene with that dog, with her and the girl, with him and the girl and the dog, and he takes it and what he does with the dog, and then at the end through the window and the windshield, dude. I'm telling you, that is 100% my kind of humor. I fucking was dying at that. Oh,
Remember when he takes that girl home?
Oh, the babes.
Yeah, and then starts
Babes?
screaming.
Oh,
yeah, she's
yeah.
screaming left, right, and center. And then she's screaming though, not because of the doll, but because he has all the it's a room set up from like a guy that looks like he lives with his parents. Which then she finds out she lives with his parents, and she's screaming babes. Then she comes back to look at the house. Did you see the post-credit sequence?
Yeah.
yes.
What a dark note to finish. Like it was literally like
See?
just like it was
That's
like
hilarious. Like not even
Yeah.
to make an attempt to get out of that. Like
Yeah,
the fact that it's a rotting
She's still-
skeleton at this point, like it's
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous. It's so funny. And all the things he left written for her, Birdie
Yes,
Ditch.
dude.
He mixed up the D and the B instead of Dirty Bitch. He wrote
Yeah.
Birdie Ditch. And every time the cops show up, the cops were fantastic because it's so funny. Like he does such a half-assed job of covering it up, and they're talking
Yeah.
about the art exploding through the canvas onto the walls with the
Yes.
blood, and not to mention the fact that there's 8,000 flies in the house. So there's clearly. I loved
No
everything in this film.
biscuits.
No biscuits.
No biscuits. Oh yeah, he kept closing the door, and the head's
The head, yeah.
so good. You care about the character. You see what's happening at work and with his parents, and he's a likable lead, Jack. You know what I mean? It's just he's and the way they do all these tributes throughout the movie from stuff from the 80s is great. They do perfect designs without ripping anybody off, like the Close Encounters type thing, and later on when he has the design. Actually, there's one thing that looks like Goosebumps, which isn't from the 80s, but everything they do with the Scare Bears looking like the friggin' Garbage Pail Kids, and everything they do is like a spot on knockoff. It's, I don't know, there's so much good stuff
That
going
Talkie
on.
Tina story where
Dude.
Dawn was talking about the backs, I was like, that's identical. Like it killed the
100%.
that.
Yeah.
Even when they're going through the book setting up the booby traps, it's like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic.
The guy was also the cinematographer in this movie and the editor, Carl Holt. So this is like literally his, like he had done a short film, and he also did, I guess he was part of an anthology that was made the year after in 2020, the pandemic anthology. But the fact he was like pretty much a one-person army on this movie. Writer, director, actor, cinematographer, editor, like all
Knocked
the
it out
main
of the park.
components
Knocked
of the
it out of the
fucking
park.
film. Yeah, this guy's talented, man. I can't wait. I almost wanted to see what his short was what his segment of the pandemic anthology is, because if this is any indication, man, I'm looking forward to everything else he has to do.
When the cops are telling him, you just got to match the heads with the bodies to put his teddies back
Yeah.
together. And he starts screaming because it's poor Cheeky. Cheeky got
Oh yeah, I felt bad at that second. Yeah,
it's
but
like
it was cool.
his sock monkey.
And Benny puts the knife through it.
Yeah.
See, Benny does everything right. He seriously does. He's just, I don't know. We're not supposed to like him. I don't know if you are. I just
you see
enjoy it.
Benny hiding behind the sheets, behind the laundry out in the yard, very much like you'd see Michael
Michael.
behind. Yeah,
Yes.
great homages to other
Dude.
horror films.
Yeah. They do it right. The kills are right. Like I said, when the horror has to be there, it is.
And
And
it
when
has
the comedy's there,
yeah,
it works.
and it has a horror scene that I always love seeing in a film, which is just like a mass murder scene where Benny's locked in the room and him and Dawn and Richard.
That character.
Yeah,
right.
that guy. Richard. Like, you're not even French.
Right. And his robots, AIDS. How about that? Everything in the third act when they start saying AIDS.
AIDS.
That was so good. Oh,
But
man.
they that's the comedy of it. They're escaping from Benny and they lock everyone else in there. They lock like 30 people and it'd be slaughtered by Benny.
That was good. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it really was. What a good time. And just everything that Benny says. I don't know. He's just, you feel for him, but you can't help. I don't know. It's just, it's an unusual film. Another one.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Again, if you want straight up horror, you're going to be disappointed. That would be the type of person. But I think if you look at the cover of this film, you know what you're getting yourself into. I really do. Like, I mean, I don't think if you look at it in that way, then this should be a treat. It just really should.
And it has heart.
Yeah.
When he brings the boss to him as a gift, and he's got that big pink bow on his head, I don't know. Like, how did Benny get him there? Like, just thinking about it is just funny.
Right? How did he even set up the party? You know, imagine like when he comes home and he's got the balloons that are upside down. He's got the cake.
Yeah.
But it's great. That's what I'm saying. It's touching when he comes home and he wants to be mad at Benny, but Benny set up this whole little birthday party for him. You know?
Yeah,
so
and
cute.
then that ending when Jack's gonna go down for all this, and then he says Jack loves you, and then Benny like gets away and he Gordons himself. He's basically he's sacrificing himself for Jack.
He gets the stuffing shot out of him.
Yeah, it was funny, but at the time I was like so like saying, oh, I didn't want Benny to get blasted, so I'm like, oh man, please don't want this happen. Please don't want this happen. And I'm watching him. Oh, don't go this direction. Then at the end, when they're both lying there on the ground, and Benny says the last word he says in the movie, and the way it cuts off, I don't know. It's just fucking. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but I felt the heart of this movie fucking got me. It was crazy. I'm like, man, this poor guy. He lost his parents, and he's like me. He's like that text said about me. He's a man child. You know, he's like a lot of us. He's holding on to all this shit in his room. He go into his bedroom in the beginning when that girl's turned off, and it's all fucking. It's like a collector. It's like a horror fan. A guy that's geeking out on this shit. You know?
Yeah.
He didn't even realize, but when he woke up, wasn't he cuddling the head like the first guy who was killed?
He was cuddling the guy's head.
Because he's so used to sleeping with a teddy as an adult. Oh, what a great movie!
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Wow.
Oh man, this is one that's going in the collection. Like, I'm like, I gotta buy this movie.
And it was again the ending that we were talking about before. Like, the cops have no clue. It's like, okay, you guys can just leave.
And that makes sense.
Yeah,
it works.
We don't know how we will explain this.
That's great, man.
Even when he buries him, he buries him too. With the carry scene, with the hand coming up through the grave.
Oh, that was great.
That was great too. But also, like, where did he get a tiny coffin? When you see him nailing the coffin shot, it's like it fits Benny perfectly. Like, the comedy is just like.
And the fight scenes in the third act between Benny and the robots and all that shit.
When Benny's arming up and he's putting his ninja stars in, he gets his mask on. Fantastic.
He jumps over, the guy runs, and they do slow motion, almost like a Matrix thing. They're doing a slow motion shit. It's great. And then he even mocks him at the one point when he gives one of those oh wows that's like a mocking one. It's like the thing's coming at him, he does like a spin, he goes, oh wow. It's like, I want my fucking text to say that. Oh wow. I love it. It's the greatest fucking thing. Cuddle me. Oh, he's fucking great. I don't know. It's so weird. I got so much enjoyment just out of the Benny character. Ah, it's the cutest fucking thing. I love it.
Yeah, I want a Benny. They better be working on making Bennies because I want a Benny.
What a Betty.
I do. I want a Benny. My birthday's coming up. I want a fucking Benny.
How about when he scares himself in the mirror? He's doing all this stuff, and he sees himself in the mirror. Ah! Oh, it's great. I'm so happy we all liked it because when I recommended we do it, because I don't even know how it happened. I said we should watch Benny Loves You. I think I told you guys after I saw it. I go, I watched a good movie last night, Benny Loves You. I enjoyed it. I think I told you guys like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then when we were trying to figure out what to do, let's do 2 new movies. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna recommend this one. I really liked it. And I'm thinking, man, I hope that these guys don't think it's stupid or something, or they don't understand. I don't know.
I was actually looking forward to seeing this, but like I said, it's gonna be a tough one. If you want your horror straight, unlike Brandon, then it's gonna be it's not gonna be up your alley at all. But I mean, if you thought like I was the one that liked Psycho Gorman out of the 3 of us, and I think this blows that one away.
Wow.
Personally.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know if you were gonna put in that type of category. Wow.
Oh, this
is my favorite of the year.
Wow.
I'll say right now. Yeah.
This is right up there as one of the best films I've seen this year. Absolutely. Full head explosion. Easy.
Yeah, full head explosion for me too. And it's fun. It's fun. I mean, yeah, I get it. Not a straight away horror film and whatnot, but from enjoyment standpoint, the best.
This film has so much rewatchability. You could just tell because there's so much funny dialogue and funny things going on that you honestly, like, I wanted to write so many things down of what they're saying, but I couldn't because I would have been pausing every 2 seconds to literally just write the script down because I thought everything they were saying and doing was funny. Even like in the flashback when you see the mother give Benny to him and he's seeing the demons in the hallway as a kid.
That's good. Yeah.
And he's like, "Will he protect me from the demons in the hallway?" She's like, "Oh, apart from those."
Yeah.
She's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
just the delivery of that. Like, I'm like, everything in this movie was funny and just made me laugh or smile. So
It was really good. I don't think it's on the level of like with the dialogue of something like What We Do in the Shadows or anything like that, but I did really enjoy it. Yes.
yeah.
I guess I would say it's a full head explosion. Yeah. I think it's great. I just, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for sure. Man, fucking Benny. I'm just glad you guys loved it. You guys might like it more than I do. I don't even know. I'm really glad to hear that because I wasn't sure. Because I know, like, I don't know, my sense of humor I feel is different than most people. Like that dog scene to me is fucking gold. To me,
That dog scene.
I didn't know if that was gonna translate. Everything. Get away from her, you bitch, and everything. The washing machine.
Get away from her, you bitch.
Everything that happened in that scene is fucking gold to me. I didn't know if that's everyone's sense of humor or not, but it just, oh man,
Get away
that
from
fucking
her, you
scene.
bitch.
Why did his boss look like the guy with the bow and everything like that? It looked like the dad from Black Christmas '74. Obviously, it's not because.
Wow, you're right.
That's like how I look at him when I picture him. I think of the dad that comes to pick up his dead daughter.
Wow, I never thought about it. Now that you mentioned it. Yeah, give me a smile. Yeah. Definitely. And how the one character is obsessed with Prince. That's fucking great. I know a few people like that. He keeps going on and on and on. I bet the director himself is a big Prince fan. That's why he does it. He did this. He talks about all the movies he made and this, and then he directed and he wrote music for other people and he keeps going on. It's fucking great. And he comes out dressed as Prince at that one point. That's fucking great, man.
Oh man.
But everything going on with the office politics, there's so much going on in this guy's life, and then this guy comes back into it, Benny, and it's cool that how at the end, they don't have to explain anything. All we know is that this is something that can happen. It happens with this girl's Tina doll, whatever her name. I'm going to call it Tina because it's a 100% talky Tina thing. But I mean, it happens with her Tina doll. It happens obviously with Benny. Happens with the kid in the beginning. Happens with the robot that comes back later that he says he stole last year. That thing, and he comes out when he does. It's and wait, wow, that kill with the fucking with the vacuum in the intestines and all that. Oh,
Ooh.
it's so good.
Yeah.
There's good kills in this movie on top of it. Man. Yeah, lots of fun.
Well, and just that not to go back into it because I know we gave it ratings, but just the fact of the doll coming back gives him all the inspiration to excel at his job as well. That's the part that I think we haven't spoken about yet, but really makes him create all those characters that get him to the level of being pretty much the boss's pet.
Right. Yeah, yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool to see this type of because you relate to the character, and it's kind of hard not to like Benny. That's all. Like, I guess maybe if someone didn't like the movie, they might just hate Benny, I guess, and say, "Oh, this is stupid." I could maybe see somebody saying that. None of us, but I mean, I understand it. Sense of humor
They
is
want
very.
they want their
It's
killer
different.
dolls scarier. They want their killer dolls to be like Chucky, where this is more like Sesame Street come to life. But
But it's
that's
done right. Like, I don't like
oh,
when
absolutely.
Chucky's cracking wise. I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like the horror comedy that the comedy. When Chucky to me becomes Bugs Bunny in part 3 and on until they reset him again when Curse comes around. I
Yeah,
don't like that Chucky. Yet
because Chucky's scary, so he should stay scary and mean.
right. Benny isn't
Benny,
scary.
Benny, no, he's not scary. He's
That's
funny. He's
right.
hilarious.
That's why it works because the character it works. I don't know. Sense of humor is something that's it's just so weird about taste how it can define. Like some people
Yeah.
like you thought maybe I wouldn't like this movie, but I try to explain the different type of goofiness. Like I don't want to see redneck zombies, and I don't want to see the type of stuff that happens in Psycho Gorman and stuff like that. It's too much for me. Where I don't know. Where in this movie, it's just right. It's so
Yeah.
odd. Yeah, I can't. I wish I could explain it, but I can't. Just some things land and some don't. I'm just glad you guys loved the movie because I was a little more.
Yeah,
Fucking loved it. Right there, towards the top of my list so far of all the 2021 watches, without a doubt.
for sure.
Cuddle me.
Oh, he's great. He is great. His mouth's always open, and the way he bounces.
The way he bounces, it's just man.
Yes.
The way they decided to move him and the expression
Yeah.
on his face, everything was perfect. Perfect.
Oh,
I've got two things off topic to talk about just quickly. I just want to say I think last episode I was shitting on the CED groups because I kept thinking of getting shafted, and I have to retract the statement because they came through in spades. I decided the problem was me, and instead of trying to vie for any time that they would randomly come out with the option of having a Friday the 13th CD available, I just put a post out and said, "Hey, guys, I am searching for this. I never seem to have any luck. eBay seems astronomical in pricing. Can anybody help?" And they were on it almost immediately. Rebecca reached out on him almost immediately and said, "Hey, I can get those for you. This is Friday the 13th part 1 through, I want 1 through 5 other than 3 because I had 3 already on this." And I said, "Rebecca, hook me up." She goes, "I'm going to be busy," because she's doing whatever movies and whatever.
right.
So then another guy posted and linked a guy in Canada. The guy who was like 45 minutes away from me says, "I got part 1 through 4.
Wow, that must be
You
all
want
the way
them?
on the other side of Canada, right? Because
Yeah, it was in Oshawa. It was in Oshawa. Yeah. So then anyway, I said, "Sure, man, I would be happy to." And in fact, he's like, I have the ones you're looking for. Well, I really wanted 1, 2, 4, and 5, but he had 1, 2, 3, 4. So I said, I didn't even say anything. I'll take all 4 because he was going to give them to me for $10 each.
Wow.
$10
Nice.
each.
Oh wow.
Shipped. It was 50. He charged me. He gave me shipped $10 for all 4 of them. So I took all 4. I said, I'm not even going to take the other one out because Dave, you said that you would like to kind of put them as
Yeah.
a part of the collection. You've got the first one, so now I got you a part 3, as I mentioned to you in text, and I got the 4.
Awesome.
And
What'd you
I'll
get
have
for
1
me?
through 4. Absolutely nothing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You got you got our
Hey.
love.
I got
Yeah.
something if you want it. Check
Nice.
this out. I went to a store the other day. I'm on this new route
mud
at work,
flap.
and it reads all these stores in the city. What's that?
I said it's a mud flap, and I heard Christian giggling in
Oh,
the back.
Well, listen, I go into the store. It's like an old toy store, old collectibles. Like they had all these old comics in there and old wrestling shit and toys and all this. Of course, everything's fucking astronomical. So I mean, they had like they had these new Masters of the Universe ones that looked exactly like the old ones, like Man at Arms and fucking He-Man. But the thing is, they want $30. I'm like, no. Why would I spend fucking? That's like an eBay thing I would buy. So no. But this was a big store and all these things. So I'm just walking around. I killed like 5 minutes, and I'm about to walk out of it, and right out of the corner of my eye, I see a fucking stack of CEDs. They had no VHS in this place at all. So I didn't even think about that. But I saw this big stack of CEDs. I'm like, holy fuck, maybe there's a Friday the 13th in there. So I go and I look, and they had like 30 of them. And they had nothing horror. I thought they had one for Popeye, which I thought, but I'm not going to display a Popeye. Friday the 13th, my love. I love Popeye, but not the same. But one of the movies that was in there, and it made me think of you, B. I don't know if you're a fan of this movie, and I haven't thought about this movie in years, but it was Holy Moses. Do you remember this movie?
Holy Moses.
Yeah.
I don't even know it. I don't know what
And
you're talking.
holy is spelled, and this is why all these years I
don't
haven't
think
thought
I know
about
this
it.
movie.
Because it was spelled WHO. I always thought it was HOLY. Yeah, it was like a Dudley Moore comedy from the fucking 80s. And I thought it was a Mel Brooks movie, but it's not.
1980s.
I do
Yeah.
love Dudley Moore. I just don't know this movie for some reason.
My parents used to watch this movie all the fuck. It's a biblical fucking spoof fucking comedy movie from the 80s. And it was there. I'm like, man, should I get this? My parents used to love the fuck out of it. It was so rare to see a CED of this movie that I haven't thought about in fucking 30 years. Holy Moses. I was like, wow. Anyway, for some reason I thought of you. I thought it'd be like your kind of comedy. That's why. It was like
I'm gonna watch it now.
Well, this guy has a ton more horror movies. I'm not collecting CEDs. Like the
Right.
CED group are like VHS collectors in a better way though, I'll say, because they actually watch the media too. I'm the odd man out. I'm going in like Dave did in the VHS group. I want it to collect. I don't have a player. And people are trying to tell me to get a player. They said you'll get addicted. I go, I don't need to get addicted to anything else. I just want to display the Friday the 13th ones. I'm just going in for Friday the 13th. So I stated my intentions, and it seems to have been received okay. And it just seems like, no one was trying to rip anybody off as they do on eBay and whatnot. That's the problem with eBay. Yeah, $50 to get it one shipped, $50 to $60 to get one of them shipped. By the time I put in the conversion rate and the shipping to get to me and the possible import fees. I mean, for one movie,
they're fishing. No. I'm sorry. They're not even going to get that. Maybe one guy out of 1,000 that looks is that desperate to do it, but they put it out there and they hope that it's like the guy that I got the Fangories from. He's like, well, I'm thinking about listing them here. And I'm like, listen, you're not going to get that. I go, I understand the lure of trying to fucking get mad money from some desperate collectors, but most of the time you're not going to go to completed listings. So this bastard that's holding on to a movie and wants to sell it for $50 is going to list this same movie 100 times over and get charged fucking the listing fees. They'll get like one free listing a month. But I mean, every time they do it, you could just get the money now and have it instead of being so tight on your laurels that I'm going to hold on to this until some asshole gives me $50. It doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Just don't be so, get the money now. And like, that's what this guy's doing with you.
Well, he was trying to get, like, I mean, he said he had Halloween 2, 3, Psycho 2. He had a ton of them. And I'm like, it did look pretty darn good. I'm not gonna. I almost tried to get Halloween 2 and 3 from him, but I'm like, I'm not gonna get into this. I'm not gonna get into a whole other realm of. I just want, because again, from space and whatever, I'm sticking to my guns. I've got a few more additions to the Friday the 13th DVD collection, and like so, and now the CDs will be almost complete. I'll need part 5, which seems to be the hardest to find. But again, it's fun when it fun. Yeah, that's the hardest one. So I told Rebecca, I'm like, well, if you come across another 5, because she just got 5 to complete her collection, but she's a CED watcher. Like, she watches the media. She has a player and everything like that. And again, I have nothing against it. It's just I'm not going down that realm. I'm just collecting them for the art and the display capabilities, and I had to have a piece of history in that regard, to have every Friday 13th in every format. So, I mean, I'm not even looking at beta, because beta is a whole other astronomical, like, rabbit hole to go down.
Dude, I'm done. I'm done collecting. I've been real good about it this past month. I put my foot down. I said, that's it. I said, I'm now obsessed with the only thing I want to collect is money. I'm more
Yep.
obsessed with looking at seriously. I'm more obsessed with now looking at my bank account and seeing it grow than seeing what I'm gonna buy that day and filling it up. Because I've done so much collecting since I bought my new house and came out of that fucking, years of the financial woe that I had to go through to get where I'm at now. And now I'm here and I had a lot of fun. Spent more than I should have the last couple of years. But I mean, it's like my wife said, you deserve this. All the shit we went through. Treat yourself a little bit. And she knows I'm not going to, do something crazy, but the money I spent on VHS and everything else and the posters and shit that's down here and Blu-rays the last 2 years, I got to the point I'm like, well, you're just collecting for the sake of collect, which is fine. And it's just a hobby that keeps you busy. But I reached the point I'm like, you know what? I'm really happy with everything I have now. And I'm done. I'm just going to collect money. That's my new obsession. Collect what I can. I'm happy with what I have.
I collect dust.
At least that's free. Collecting dust costs you nothing, right?
That was it. I just wanted to shut up because I came down and I was like, I'm getting out of all those groups. And even the woman, I didn't even ask for this. The woman that I was sort of upset with, I didn't vocalize this, but the one that I told the story about last episode,
Yeah,
she
she
reached
blew
out
off.
to me in Messenger. She reached out to me in Messenger, said, I am so sorry. This went to my spam. I just saw this now. And she responded. So I'm like, hey, no worries. Thank you. And everything else. So I not that
So
they're
you're
gonna
a
hear
real
I didn't
prick,
name
in
any
other
names.
words.
No, I
Did
felt
you
like
tell her
like,
that you
well,
were going to PM her? Did you put a thing in the thread
No.
saying PM'd or no?
She let you pee
I
on her?
don't believe I did, which is the
Well,
problem.
that's the
Yeah.
code. I got
So
it. That's
again,
stupid.
it's on me. It's on me.
Okay.
I think maybe I did. I can't remember 100%, but I take responsibility for it. And again, I admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong.
Wouldn't it be
Screw
on
it,
her?
but-
Wouldn't it be on her if you let her pee, if she wanted you to pee on her?
Wow, wowzers! Like honestly, we should. I should
Them's
just
the jokes.
like to dead air right now. Just go.
That's it. That's how we wrap it up. Boom, dead. So long. Bye-bye. So long. Farewell. Yeah, so we should get out though anyway. We definitely should get
Get
out.
out.
The next show will be the it was requested. It was requested in the past on the group page. We put things up there and Collector and the Collection
Looking
And-
forward to revisiting these.
with a special guest. Unless things change, but that's how we're looking. So
Looking forward to seeing this again too. Both of them.
Levi
Me too.
Etheridge. Woo. He's coming.
Levi Etheridge. Awesome. So
Bye,
all right.
everyone.
Yeah, goodbye.
Oh yeah.
We're all gonna get laid.